Robin narrowed his eyes when the story got to this point. That is exactly what he wanted to hear. Orzon then continued, 150,000 years after the beginning of the era of energy cultivation, a person appeared among the race of giants who was greatly respected by everyone. He was one of the strongest powerhouses in the giants' race, a true pillar that might hold the sky if it falls upon them, but he preferred seclusion and only appeared in the case of a war that threatens the survival of the kingdom of giants. He would participate and fend off the attackers, then go back to his seclusion. Near the end of his life, everyone understood why he liked to isolate himself so much. He went out to people and announced that he had invented a divine tattoo that could strengthen the bodies of all giants without the need to train in the tiring and of limited benefit human system. He called it the body-strengthening divine tattoo, and then published the method to draw them among all the giants without asking for money or personal interest for himself. Robin opened his eyes to the end. So the first Heaven's Chosen is the creator of divine tattoos. Then he continued. From that day on, the trajectory of the wars began to take a completely different course. Within just 10 years of the spread of the divine tattoos, the giants gained enough land to establish their second kingdom. Then he made matters worse for all of us after that, as he upgraded the divine body-strengthening tattoo after a few decades and called it the second stage of the divine tattoo. And just like the first stage, he also publicly published them for all the giants. And so the basic strength of the giants began to multiply again. But the first chosen heaven did not accept this advantage only for his race. He began to make for them divine tattoos used for attack, for example, a divine tattoo that increases strength by 50%, another increases speed, and another helps to jump high, and another forms thunderbolts like those used by the lightning tribe currently. Within another 50 years, he has managed to design dozens of these attacking tattoos. Then he began to bend nature itself for them, so he devised ways to increase the extraction of natural resources, and he invented the odorless powder to avoid the danger of the irrational demon race, which is now used to manipulate them. And after every single invention of his, he would go out and publicly publish his work. Everyone knew how poor he is and that he goes out to search for his resources with his own hands, but never asked for anything for himself, saying that he would die soon anyway and that didn't have a family to leave the money to, saying the giants are his family and he only wishes to see them prosper. Seeing him act like this, they called him the Universal Sage. Many of the giant race came pretty close to actually worshipping him, saying that he is the heaven itself incarnate, and some say the gods blessed him. On our side, our ancestors and the rest of the other races tried to steal the designs of these divine tattoos to take advantage of them, and indeed they got them, but they failed to take full advantage of them or even reduce the difference between them and the giants. Unlike the energy system we humans came up with, this system wasn't natural, it was twisted to work perfectly on the giant race only. About 50% of those who tried to use the body-strengthening divine tattoo would have a permanent disability and will become useless, and anyone who tries to use the attacking divine tattoos turns old and dies naturally after a few battles. And so, only 100 or so years after the first Heaven Chosen appeared, there were no more wars, only massacres. The giants massacred entire races and enslaved the rest of the races, then destroyed the energy training techniques of all the other races and forbade any training. Whoever disobeyed orders would simply be killed. They even added the word Nahari before giants and suddenly became Nahari giants for no reason but to further demonstrate they are the owners of the world now. The mighty first Heaven Chosen, the infamous Universal Sage, actually pitied us and tried to intervene to stop what is happening and told the giants' leaders that this was not what he made tattoos for, and that the race of giants should only protect themselves and leave a chance for others to live, cultivate, and decide their own destiny. But he discovered that his title and position are good only in celebrating and singing in banquets. No one listened to him when it came to harming their interest. After that, the first Heaven Chosen disappeared for 5 years. No one knew where he went, and when he appeared, he announced that he won't invent anything new until the heads of the Nahari giants race stop the genocide they were doing and live more peacefully as respectable leaders for this world and watch over the rest of the races with care, but let them live in peace and let them have their own choice. But he was met with fury, rejection, and accusations of treason. All means were used to promote among the commoner giants that the Heaven's Chosen One had turned into a traitor and no longer wanted to benefit them anymore. And in the blink of an eye, everyone forgot the title the Universal Sage, who gave them everything for free without asking anything for himself, and forgot the title of Heaven's Chosen, who is the first person and the only one who brought them to their current position, and they started verbally attacking him in the streets. Alright, he got the idea. The first Heaven's Chosen is the creator of the divine tattoos. You can stop running your mouth with useless words now. Jabba's face appeared extremely ugly when they got to this point. Orzon gave a sarcastic laugh without looking at Jabba and then continued. After they gained the approval of the street, the heads of the race of giants at that time went to the first chosen one of heaven and attacked him together, and after a fierce battle he was arrested and imprisoned in a high-security prison. They wanted him to reveal how he discovered all these things, but he refused. They asked him to return to his inventions and hand them over at least one invention every 5 years, but he showed absolute refusal to use his inventions in this way. So they began torturing him in the most horrific ways. I told you to shut your mouth. Jabba took a step forward and yelled. Orzon looked at Jabba this time, still smiling. When the first Heaven's Chosen learned that the giants in the street don't care about what is happening to him, and most of them actually supported his torture despite everything he did for them, he died in his little cage. It's said that the warden who first discovered his corpse lost his mind and turned crazy soon afterward. The Kingdom Protector wasn't killed. The Universal Sage didn't commit suicide. The mighty first Heaven's Chosen didn't bow down to torture and threats, but died from excessive crying. You! Jabba took a step forward and seemed ready to attack Orzon. But the shadows behind the tent also moved and they took on more offensive poses. When he felt this, Jabba restrained himself and got back to his place again. The gnashing of his teeth could be heard even for those standing outside. Ha! So you know your filthy past, little giant. No wonder you refused to explain to Mr. Robin. Orzon laughed out loud when he saw this. I wonder what your reaction will be after I tell him the tale of the second Heaven's Chosen then. You dare! Jabba shouted. Let's find out then, Orzon responded defiantly. The two continued their provocations, but Robin didn't listen to a word of what was being said. The story of the first Heaven's Chosen was simply mind-blowing. Those shocking innovations and discoveries of his did not come out of nowhere. There is no doubt that this man opened his eyes to the truth. If this is what is meant by being a Heaven's Chosen, then indeed Robin can be considered the third Heaven's Chosen to appear in this world. But what really happened to him is a sad and expressive story. That person chose the path that Robin refused to choose, made himself known from the beginning, and made everything public without a force behind him to support and protect him. And he reached the fate that Robin had always feared, an early death because of his inventions, and even received a more horrific fate. Died crying from regret and sorrow? And for what? Because he wanted them to act more civil and let the others live? Suddenly he became a traitor. They forgot that he is the one who settled the wars of the planet in their favor. Anyone who seeks the truth and sees it is an extraordinary person, someone who can create entire civilizations. To die such a death. Perhaps he chose this option and publicized his work from day one because he was already one of the most powerful experts on the planet at the time and had such a good reputation. Perhaps he thought this would give him the ability to control what his innovations would be used for, or at least be respected enough by the members of his race to the end. Maybe his pure thinking couldn't process the amount of greed in other people's hearts. Plus, people naturally only remember the last thing you did. That's something that Robin knew pretty well. If you were an evil bastard all your life, you could earn respect if you pretended to do something good for once. And if you lived as a true saint all your life, people would forget your whole history and attack you if you did something wrong in their eyes. Robin let out a big sigh, thanking heaven that he chose to strengthen the Burton family and focus his entire work on them, or else his fate would have been undoubtedly more terrible. Chief Orzon, please continue. What happened next? Robin looked at Orzon eagerly and asked. What happened is that the current world was formed. Lord Orzon opened his hands to the last of them. A dispute arose between the leaders of the giant race at that time, the ones who had engaged in attacking and imprisoning the first Heaven's Chosen. There were no longer wars against other races to unite them, nor a Heaven Chosen to be their core, and they all want absolute power. So, internal wars began immediately after the death of the first Heaven's Chosen. in which countless numbers of Nahari giants were killed and all their kingdoms collapsed. After the giants sensed the danger of going down a road with no return, a peace conference was held between all their giant race leaders to try to end the crisis. In the end, it was decided that each leader would take his men and settle on a plot of land to form a tribe after the use of the name of a kingdom has been banned. Every tribe will have the right to use the first stage and the second stage of the body-strengthening divine tattoo, and with it a specific type of Ataking divine tattoo that no other tribe can use, like the Lightning tribe, which has all of the lightning-related attacking divine tattoos exclusively. And indeed, each of the leaders chose a piece of land with a certain attacking divine tattoo type and called out to his race that whoever wants to use the attacking divine tattoos from the type he has will have to follow him. And of course, all the other races that live on that land suddenly become inferior creatures living to serve that tribe. So that's how it is. The current giants tribes are not related by blood, but only gathered around their leader at that time because of their love for him or in order to use a certain attacking divine tattoo. Giants' authority systems are indeed similar to kingdoms, but they do not use the word kingdom so as not to attract the indignation of the rest of the giants toward them. Robin rubbed his chin and spoke. What about the second heavens chosen? Can you tell me his story too? Ke. Jabba looked aside. He knew he couldn't stop this. It's my pleasure, Orzon chuckled. Now we will go back to the era of the one and only kingdom. Let's start by introducing you to him. The second heavens chosen wasn't a strong character or anything before he was known to everyone, but it is worth mentioning that he was of the bloodline of the first heavens chosen. His bloodline? Robin opened his eyes. Yes. Do you remember when I told you that the first heavens chosen disappeared for a few years before he appeared again and announced his stance? It turns out that he made himself a large harem and secretly had many children at that time, and gave each boy's mother a thick book and told her to pass it on to her son when he grew up and that the book has to be passed down forever as a secret family legacy. But only the smartest and most talented of his bloodline should read it. Those books were indeed inherited by the sons of the first heavens chosen, his grandsons and his great-grandchildren, knowing what happened to their ancestor and how he died. None of them chose to show the inheritance that they obtained, and they kept living among everyone else in secret. They kept their existence and their bloodline a secret to the degree that they did not even know that they had many other relatives descending from other women of their ancestors' harem. The legacy has been passed down from generation to generation. Books have been destroyed and rewritten, and thousands of descendants of the first chosen one of heaven read them, but no one has ever been able to benefit anything from it. And with this, thousands of years passed, specifically 60,000 years from the day the first heavens chosen died crying, when a boy was born from his bloodline and got a copy of the book, and for some reason he was the only one who was able to absorb it, and finally, the second heavens chosen appeared to this world. Robin opened his eyes to the last of them. These books certainly contained an explanation about the path of truth and how to reach it, but the truth is not like the rest of the paths. Just explaining it to someone does not mean that he will master it. The truth chooses its wielders and not the other way around. The first chosen one of heaven introduced them to the truth and gave them the path they should walk on. But who would reach its end was not up to him to decide. It can already be said that he is lucky because one of his grandchildren managed to succeed him in only 60,000 years. Then Orzon continued. The second heavens chosen was sharp and learned from his ancestors' mistakes. He concealed the fact that he became a chosen like his ancestor deep in his heart, and didn't announce it to everyone like his ancestor did. And secretly, he created a way to identify his relatives who had the bloodline of the first heavens chosen like him. Then slowly and out of sight began to gather his large family, a secret and prideful family that grew and branched for 60,000 years. The second heavens chosen search enveloped the whole world, and with the help of his creation, he was able to reach the branches descended from other women from his great-grandfather's harem. Indeed, his plan succeeded, and he gathered tens of thousands of his relatives from all over the world and settled in some barren forgotten lands of one of the tribes. And because they were all giants as well, the citizens of that tribe didn't pay much attention to it. Then he began to strengthen them in secret, ordering them to keep everything secret for at least 500 years. Robin opened his eyes and mouth at the last of them. The second heavens chosen was thinking exactly like him. You have to pour everything you got into people close to you until you are, with their aid, strong enough to control the fate of the world. Then do whatever you want. That is what should be done. If the first Heaven's Chosen had done this, his creations would have been used as he wished and he would not have faced such a tragic end. Orzon then continued, in just less than 100 years, the second Heaven's Chosen has created many new offensive tattoos and upgraded the tattoos left by his grandfather, and invented the method of making divine weapons. But he didn't have his way to the end. Finally, the chief of the tribe they were settling in has noticed what is going on in his land after one of the close assistants of the second Heaven's Chosen had accidentally disclosed the secret while he got himself drunk in a brothel. The chief of the tribe was very happy when he got the news, and how can't he be? If he arrested the second Heaven's Chosen, he would make all those good stuff for him, and if not, he would be satisfied with those mystical weapons. Then gathered his army and went to demand the surrender of all the divine weapons and the new divine tattoos. But the matter did not go as he wanted. The strength of the family of the Heaven's Chosens was very strong after all this concentrated strengthening for 100 years. A one-sided battle took place in which the chief of the tribe and his army were crushed, after which the second Heaven's Chosen seized the lands of that tribe and began to subjugate those in it and spread his laws and weapons in it at his convenience. Once again, Robin was excited. This second Heaven's Chosen followed the same path as he is now. Perhaps his only mistake is that he let the news leak out and didn't create something like the Oath Tablets. And what happened next? Then the first kingdom was established, 60,000 years after the last one was demolished. Orzon said seriously, the balance of power in the world was broken by the appearance of divine weapons. No tribe could resist the kingdom's encroachment on their lands, driven by a sense of injustice toward their ancestor and their bloodline. After that, Heaven's Chosen army was a force by itself, with several military campaigns, and in just 50 years the size of the kingdom tripled. But the second Heaven's Chosen did not stop there. After a long seclusion that lasted 20 years, he came out and announced that he had discovered the third stage of the body-strengthening divine tattoo. The kingdom's overwhelming advantage basically doubled in the blink of an eye during another 100 years, and after the appearance of many dragons among the kingdom's forces, the military campaigns intensified. Within a few decades the kingdom had controlled 10% of the whole world. Once again, Robin was astonished. 10% of the Nahari realm is a few times the size of his mother planet. That second Heaven's Chosen one was indeed a decisive man. The campaigns continued for hundreds of years and no one could deter them. The rest of the tribes began to surrender to fate, and most of them began to lick the feet of the kingdom so that they would not invade them or treat them badly if the day came and they captured their lands. Even the second Heaven's Chosen finally came out and announced that he had created the 4th degree of divine body-strengthening tattoo, becoming the first emperor in the world. *4th degree. Robin was shocked. This corresponds to a level between 4150 in the inner energy system, a level that his world has not yet reached on his mother planet. Then Orzon continued. After that day, the second Heaven's Chosen continued with his military campaigns like a hammer, and took control of a third of the Nahari world at once, and announced that he would unite the whole world. At that moment all the giants knew that flattery would not work and that a catastrophe was coming with no way around it. And honestly, I don't know what they were afraid of. Ha ha ha. The second Heaven's Chosen treated his citizens in the best way and provided treatment and training resources for everyone and liberated the rest of the intelligent races on his lands, and gave us almost equal rights. The lands of the kingdom were a paradise for all on Nahari. We humans would have wished that the second Heaven's Chosen would complete his quest. But, finally, the 12 largest tribes in the far north united at that time under the slogan of confronting the aggression. They wanted to stop the kingdom while there is still a chance before other emperors appeared in it. Somehow the leaders of those tribes were able to turn the second Heaven's Chosen into a tyrannical demon in the eyes of all the giants, and rallied the rest of the independent tribes under their banner to confront the kingdom. Suddenly the situation became the kingdom against the whole world. The strong family of the 2 Heaven's Chosens versus every living breathing giant behind their borders. Robin started furrowing his eyebrows upon hearing this. He didn't take that into account. His future plan was to eat as much land as possible, develop it, and make its inhabitants live a better life. In this way, he would easily be able to annex the rest of the duchies and kingdoms around the Kingdom of the Black Sun, where the ruling class would fear him and the commoners would long to join him. Even if the plan was stopped, for now, he intended to resume it if he returned from this mission alive, but it seems that he forgot a very important element, the information networks. If his enemies could cut off news of how the people lived in his lands and pass on news and rumors that turn Robin as a monster instead, the magic will turn on the sorcerer. That is what happened with the Second Heavens Chosen anyway. Then Orzon continued, the Second Heavens Chosen relied in the strength of his army mainly on his family, whose numbers by that time had reached nearly 500,000. But this number was nothing compared to the rest of the race of giants plus their slaves from the rest of the races. The difference in quality was in favor of the kingdom, but the difference in number was overwhelming in favor of the Union. After every member of the kingdom killed 20 people from the Union, he would still die, leaving his place empty. During a war that lasted only 10 years, and after killing tens of millions of giants from the Union, the Second Heavens Chosen and his family were crammed into their capital, the most fortified city on the planet at that time. With this city behind them, the Second Heavens Chosen and his family felt safe all along. Even when their numbers fell and they were exhausted, they entered the city and were now safe even when there were millions of giants besieging them. Everyone thought it would never end, and the giants of the Union began to fear that the Second Heavens Chosen would invent something new to divert the course of the war once again while he was inside. But then the ultimate surprise happened. The capital's gate was opened from the inside. What? You mean? Robin shivered upon hearing this. Yes, the family that he had strengthened and lifted to the top abandoned him, or better to say, some of them abandoned him. Later it became clear that many of the elders of the family conspired to end the rule of the crazed Second Heavens Chosen and restore the justice to the world. But everyone knows that they did it when they saw no hope of getting out of the city again and wanted to save themselves. Orzon shook his head, laughing. Then he continued, the heads of the Union army killed all members of the Heavens Chosen family after they entered the capital. A complete massacre that neither an old man nor an infant escaped from. This was what happened to the loyal ones, at least. As for the Second Heavens Chosen himself, he was captured severely injured after a huge battle, and was burned alive in front of everyone. As for the people who betrayed the Second Heavens Chosen, they were given some wealth and a good place to live, but they were castrated so that the family would have no offspring anymore. Ha 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 ha, I bet if they knew this, they wouldn't have betrayed him, ha ha. This, Robin felt a tightness in his chest. The First Heavens Chosen died crying from regret when he tried to help them for free, and the Second Heavens Chosen was burned when he tried to unite the world. Even the giants of his own family betrayed him. Ha ha ha, they did this to the two people who were supposed to be the eternal pride of the giants. Ha ha ha, is there any better joke? Orzon laughed hysterically. A cracking sound sounded from his fingers when Jabba heard this, and even drops of blood started to come out of his bitten lips. This was truly an eternal shame that will follow them forever. Every era has its own circumstances. That may not really be what happened, Jabba muttered, trying to defend his ancestors. Come on, boy, you read that same history in your daddy's library, didn't you? They say the victorious one can write history. If that dark shit is what's written by your victorious ancestors, then how much worse were those eras than what actually reached us? Humph, the Lightning Tribe was one of the tribes that joined the 12 northern tribes in the war for the kingdom, as I recall. And in the end, the only thing you got from the spoils was the third stage of the body-strengthening divine tattoo. Everything else went to the 12 tribes, including that fourth stage body-strengthening divine tattoo. You really are a bunch of losers, Orzon said sarcastically. So the fourth stage of the body-strengthening divine tattoo is? Robin muttered, having this tattoo is very important. It's a level of strength they don't have on his home planet. Yes, it is still exclusively with the union of the 12 northern tribes. And those 12 tribes have also been allowed to use all kinds of offensive tattoos since that war and have also taken a large number of divine weapons and distributed them among themselves. They are still the uncrowned kings for the world until this day, Orzon explained. This. What about the inheritance of the Heavens Chosen? Robin quickly asked. No, the Second Heavens Chosen gathered them and burned them before the decisive battle. He also burned the method of making divine weapons and killed those who were assigned to create them. The divine weapons in the world currently are all remnants of that war, like my broken armor you saw just now. That piece of scrap metal? What makes it divine? Robin was surprised when heard this. My divine armor is surely not the best right now, but it's still decent and much tougher than regular armors. Don't forget that the last war against the kingdom was 190,000 years ago after all, and that was also the last time a divine weapon was made. Then what about the most important thing, the thing they most likely started that war for the hope of obtaining? Did they obtain those books that the first Heaven's Chosen left behind? Robin gave a frown and asked a lot would change depending on the answer to this question. Don't worry. There is nothing left of the second Heaven Chosen's legacy but the third and the fourth stage of the body-strengthening divine tattoo that traders leaked its drawing method and a few upgraded attacking divine tattoos. The second Heaven Chosen's made sure to take everything he could to hell with him, and I salute him for that. Anyway, with the end of the war, the planet's hope for development is over. These 12 tribes still rule from the dark and want everything to stay exactly the same and suppress any type of change. And we the inferior races are back to being less than cattle and dogs. Robin furrowed his eyebrows. The situation on Nahari was complicated. Extremely complicated. There are dozens of tribes that specialize in specific offensive divine tattoos and occupy large areas of land, and each one is a stronger and controls a larger area than the Black Sun Kingdom. And on top of that, there are 12 tribes that have the 4th degree of body-strengthening divine tattoo that reaches the strength of emperors between levels 40-50, and they also have offensive divine tattoos of all paths. Not only that, there are a large number of other races that live on these lands. Robin had at first tacitly decided to ignore them and focus on winning the giants' trust, but seeing the strength of this human settlement and their high-level coordination, it is clear that they must be taken into account when making any plans. After a few seconds, Robin remembered something and raised his head to face Orzon. I don't understand. If you had such strength, why didn't you defend Lori's mother? And what happened to Lori's mother? Orzon raised an eyebrow. For giants raped her to death under your supervision. Robin spoke frantically, still feeling he owed that girl. Ha ha ha, Orzon laughed out loud suddenly. Even Jabba grinned and shook his head. You too. Are you laughing? Robin asked annoyed. Raped to death that is the second official death for all the human women since the first Heaven Chosen appeared. The first and best is suicide. You want us to get involved in something as ordinary as that? Orzon then looked at Jabba. Hey, you have been threatening left and right since you entered my tent. Why don't you tell your master what would happen if word spread among the giants that the settlements had warriors and shamans? Tisk Jabba looked at Robin and spoke. If it is revealed that one of the terrorists is associated with the settlement, the army will go out under the command of the peacekeepers to encircle all the settlements of that person's race and search everyone's bodies. If they can't find another one with tattoos inside the settlements, we will most likely be satisfied with executing 1,000 or 2,000 randomly as a warning. But if they find that the phenomenon is widespread, then at least half of the settlements will be exterminated, or perhaps the whole race will be massacred. Orzon continued. You say I didn't defend a woman? If we showed our strength for these trivial reasons, we wouldn't have existed until now. Then why are you gathering your strength if you are not even able to protect your women and children? Why don't you just wait obediently to die? Robin shouted. His words made even the people standing around the tent shiver a little and clench their fists. Orzon remained silent for a moment and then sighed. 10,000 years ago, a mad chief rose to rule the neighboring Strength tribe and spread the culture of eating humans and the other intelligent beings among his subjects so that his people would not look at him with disgust anymore. Little by little, the restaurants of intelligent creatures began to spread in their land. The giants of his tribe began to flock to them. The intelligent beings there became the first source of meat. And because the children of intelligent beings do not grow quickly as our natural lives are long, and we do not have as many offspring as the animals even if we tried. And because those fools ate madmen and without supervision because their ruler he was also an idiot. All the intelligent races had been exterminated from the lands of the Strength tribe in just 10 years. And now after 10,000 years they are currently still buying intelligent beings from the surrounding tribes for food. The demand on us increased here, and the Lightning Clan chief started sending our sons to the Strength Tribe lands in exchange for a lot of money and resources, sometimes even sending entire settlements to the point that we thought he was planning to exterminate us too. Then we had to act. There is nothing we can do about the power system since the ancient human system was destroyed by the giants and it was pretty weak anyway, and the current system only benefits us with a lot of sacrifices. We accepted the fact that we are inferior races here, but even as inferior races we must live and pass down our bloodline, hoping that one day our kids will inherit this planet again. And seeing you now, it seems that we were right. 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago. Jabba muttered. This was almost the beginning of the emergence of all the terrorist groups. You? Then Orzon and the rest didn't get control over this settlement alone? The settlements in which giants walk day and night and choose who lives and who dies in them with just the lift of a finger. The settlements that are the safest place for them and safer for them even than the cities of the giants themselves, are the home of terrorist groups. This was great news. Hee hee. Deduce as much as you like. You are not going out of here anyway. Orzon chuckled, since Jabba saw the reality of this settlement, and it was impossible for him to get out alive and free. Armed groups strike at the heart of the cities of giants to distract them even when they are at peace, and they may attack the convoys that take intelligent creatures out to rescue them indirectly. Maybe they also surround some giants and kill them inside the settlements if they exaggerate too much, as it was going to happen today. The idea is not bad, but it's not practical either. The number of divine tattoo users inside the settlement must be very few or else it will come out. And surely with every action you do some of you die, unless... Robin spoke quickly and paused at this point. The number of fighters inside this colony alone would not be enough to form a terrorist group. Robin quickly asked, exactly how many are you? How many settlements are involved in this? You really think I'm going to answer that? Orzon gave a laugh. Is it because of Jabba? He can wait outside, said Robin quickly. The answer to that question would change a lot of his plans. It is because of you, Orzon pointed toward Robin. Taking Jabba to be a disciple despite knowing who he is? Do you know how many of us were killed by his hands and orders? That is not a good sign. You will have to show your loyalty by your actions to our race first. And then I will tell you what you want to know. Mr. Third Heaven's Chosen. And how do I do this? Robin furrowed his eyebrows. Simple. Orzon looked at Jabba. We will injure this Jabba severely and capture the rest of the 10 giants outside. Then you will kill them all by yourself. This is not a suggestion, by the way. It is the only way for you to survive today as well. Is that a threat? Robin furrowed his eyebrows upon hearing this. What do you say, Mr. Robin? How dare this humble thing to threaten the Third Heaven's Chosen? I am nothing but a servant to you and at your disposal. That is, of course, if you are on our side. Orzon's smile disappeared here and then looked at Japan seriously. Your loyalty is still questionable, Mr. Robin. Are you mad? I wasn't with you in the first place to accuse me of treason. Robin said, annoyed. Orzon's hints were very clear. Orzon turned to look at Robin, smiling. That is true, the first time we knew your truth was today. But I hope you understand the current situation. If you are on our side, we need proof after you took one of our prime enemies as your disciple. And if your loyalty is to the giants, we naturally won't allow the Third Heaven's Chosen to be also on the side of the giants. Please understand my situation here. You don't think I will let you two go without guarantees, right? Robin clenched his fist tightly. That was really a problem. He couldn't simply kill Jabba, and he couldn't stay here for years until he gained the trust of those people, especially if their strength isn't good enough to support his mission. When Orzon saw this, he sighed. At least tell me more about yourself. Where you are from. What exactly do you want for your future? What strange energy system do you use? Sorry. I'm not ready to open up and chat with someone threatening to kill me. Robin replied sarcastically, telling him everything from the start. No way. I know you are probably not from this world in the first place, but you have fallen into this dilemma now, and you have to find a way to solve it. Orzon was silent for a few seconds and then said, "Ahahaha." Jabba laughed out loud when he heard this and looked at Robin, teasing him, but said nothing. "What are you laughing at, you idiot? Don't you see what you got us into?" What a deputy chief of peacekeepers! Robin yelled at Jabba. How could someone who specializes in security be so deceived? Those peacekeepers are nothing but clowns. Don't worry. They have no guarantee that they can bring me down even with all their men. If you fight with me and summon the demons we have outside, it will be another story. Jabba spoke, looking at Robin, as if the situation around him did not concern him. Demons? Orzon narrowed his eyes and then said, You can try if you like, but the thought of killing the third Heaven's Chosen is still painful to me. I beg you to think again and don't push me onto this. Robin entered into a long silence. The situation is not as easy as Jabba is trying to show. He is definitely trying to scare Orzon to soften his words towards them. But if the three of them really start a fight here, the results will be bad, to say the least. Secondly, the big battle might attract a lot of attention and end up with the actual annihilation of the humans in the lands of the Lightning Tribe because of him. And this would happen only because the chief was trying to protect him from Jabba? No, they can't be blamed either. Not after what happened to Lori. What should I do? Robin thought. Orzon also didn't say a word and remained silent to see the decision of the person sitting in front of him. Then Robin widened his eyes as if he remembered something and looked at Orzon. I can't kill Jabba. He accepted me as his master, so I have to protect him. Also, I will need him on my mission here. Sigh, what a loss. Orzon let out a long sigh, looking ready to stand up and attack. But I have a solution that will satisfy everyone, Robin hurriedly added. Oh! The old man settled himself again with a puzzled look on his face, like a drowning man who found a straw to hang on. What could that be? I want to pulverize these resources first, Robin said and began to draw the shapes of a few plants on the ground. He had already become almost an expert in the language of this world, but naming some things he hadn't heard yet was a pain, as their name on his home planet might not be the same as here. Then, after he finished, he said, I also want a metal tablet about this size. I know it's going to be hard for you to put together, but we can wait until you... Archies, come here. A call from old Orzon interrupted Robin's words. Then a middle-aged man from the people standing around the tent entered and bowed a little. Order me, chief. Go collect autumn Nahari straw, warm ice lotus, and the old man continued after a few names and then continued. And bring all of them here, quickly. Then he looked back at Robin, who was still stunned. All these things are scattered all around the settlement. In a couple of hours your orders will be here. Robin's astonishment increased when he heard this. At first he thought that terrorist groups must have these resources after all the illegal stuff they are doing and that Orzon would communicate with them to collect these resources. But the resources are scattered all around the settlement. These items the Burton family failed to collect, and they needed the Bradley family's help to buy them. Is it because of the energy density of the planet? If this level of resource is so common to this degree, then what are the scarce resources here? How will it be? What kind of runes could he use those resources to create? A smile began to appear on Robin's face and his eyes wandered. The crazy smile on his face scarred Orzon witless. When he looked at Jabba as if asking for answers, Jabba laughed and shrugged. Haha, don't look at me. I haven't known for long enough to know what he is thinking. Robin remained in his state, and Jabba and Orzon were in complete silence for about an hour. Then Archies came back and passed the needed resources to Orzon. Only then did Robin move and started burning some and grinding the others. He seemed to be making something. His usage of the major heavenly law of fire was like magic that captivated the three bystanders. Archies was surprised by what was happening inside the tent, but he bowed as they walked out again. But Orzon held his hand. You can wait here. Help Mr. Robin if he wants anything. Yes, Chief. The middle-aged man nodded and went to bring the plants to Robin's side and extend a helping hand as soon as he was asked. After about another hour, Robin raised the small metal tablet and spoke with a smile. Okay. Time to test his confidence. Do you have a suspect in a major crime and you want him to die if he was the real criminal? Kneel, you bastard. Archies yelled at a handcuffed human in front of him. Orzon looked at the person kneeling on the ground in disgust, then looked at Robin again and spoke. This is who you asked for. He was being chased by a demon. Instead of giving up to fate or trying to outrun the demon, he led him towards an entire family who was on their way to collect fruits around the village, and then left them to getting eaten alive and ran away. It ended up killing the father, mother, and 5 children. With he could have run a little longer and reached the village where we were going to protect him. I didn't know there was a family there. I was running randomly when we bumped into the family. I tried to pull the demon towards me again, but he just ignored me. I swear that's what happened. The kneeling person started screaming and crying. Orzon was silent for a moment and then continued, looking at Robin. You can see why we haven't executed him yet. You said you wanted someone who deserved to die. Here he is. Do whatever you want. Robin approached the prisoner with the metal tablet in his hand and spoke without introduction. Pass your soul sense here, and as an experiment say, I have breathed more than once in my lifetime, and if I didn't, I deserve to die. Orzon furrowed his eyebrows upon hearing this. Even Jabba looked at Robin strangely. I have breathed more than once in my life, and if I didn't, I deserve to die. Feeling intimidated by the situation around him and with the giant in the tent, the prisoner spoke without hesitation. After Robin nodded and waited 10 seconds, then spoke again. Good, now say. I didn't mean to lead the demon toward the family, and if I did, I deserve to die. I didn't mean to lead the demon toward the family, and if I did, I deserve to die, the prisoner announced, but suddenly was followed by the sound of cake-hack. Then he fell to the ground, and all traces of life disappeared from his body. Orzon stood quickly, eyes wide open as if struck by lightning, and Jabba quickly took a few steps and began to examine the prisoner's corpse in astonishment. Oh my God! Archies, who was standing behind the prisoner, muttered and took a step back. There was no need to check his condition. The prisoner was definitely dead. What was that? Orzon regained his balance and asked. The oath tablet records the imprint of a person's soul, the oath he takes, and the punishment he chose, and then remains in constant contact with him through his soul. If the person even tries to break his oath, he will be punished immediately accordingly. Robin spoke with a smile and returned to his seat. I initially chose to try an easy oath, so you wouldn't think that the oath tablet kills randomly. I hope you trust what I said now. What oath and what punishment? Jabba asked after letting the head of the corpse hit the ground again. Any oath that comes to your head, and any punishment that can affect the soul. For example, feeling severe pain, forgetting something, or, of course, death. Robin's reply. Interesting. Jabba moved toward Robin and took the tablet from him, and then passed his spiritual sense through it. I, Jabba, am not the #1 talent in the land of the Lightning Tribe and all the surrounding lands. If I'm wrong, I deserve to feel the pain of 100 stabs. Jabba spat thick blood from his mouth and fell on his back. Ah, I knew it. I'm #1. Ah. Robin shook his head and laughed loudly. The tablet won't come out and do research to see if you are right. As long as you believe your oath, the tablet will believe you. That means that at least you fully believe that you are the #1 talent in the Lightning Tribe and the surrounding lands. A show-off, Orzon muttered, looking at the blood from Jabba's mouth and then looking at Robin. Well, you have proven the tablet's power, and then? The 3 of us make a mutual oath to keep each other's secrets and help each other. This will make you trust Jabba and for me to trust both of you enough to say what I have. What do you think? Okay. Anything to take away. The stupid talisman off my neck. Coughs. Jabba said. With difficulty he managed to sit up again. Orzon remained silent and then sighed and looked at an Archies who was still standing in amazement, not knowing why he was in a meeting like this in the first place. Archies, first your wife sacrificed herself to protect a girl that had a divine tattoo, and now your daughter has found and saved the 3rd heaven chosen and sent him to us at the cost of her life. And you yourself work hard for humanity day and night. From today you are my right hand, and your family will go down in our history books as the ideal family throughout our history. Thank you. The 3rd heaven chosen is a human. My daughter died? Archies took a few steps back. The too much information he heard hit him on the head like a hammer. He did not know whether to grieve or rejoice, celebrate or cry. He fell to his knees and put his forehead on the ground toward Robin and shouted. My daughter must have gone to the ancestors proud. Thank you for giving her this opportunity. Thank you for coming to us. Robin got up and went to get the man on his feet and wiped his tears and said, Thank you for raising your daughter well. All right, Archies, you may go home to rest now. Send the men around the tent to their positions as well. I don't want anyone to come within 100 meters of the tent, Orzon pointed out to the weeping man. I have much to talk about today with Mr. Third Heaven Chosen and Mr. Jabba. Almost an hour had passed since the Archies was sent out of the tent, and no new words had been said since then. All discussion was over formulating the oath that each one of them will have to say. Jabba and Orzon were somewhat similar in their oaths, keeping the secrets of the other two parties secrets, helping them when needed, and a few other little details. The penalty for breach would be immediate death, while keeping the oath flexible enough not to endanger one's life by mistake. While Robin recited a similar oath, then he added voluntarily that he intends to towards neither the giant race, nor humans, nor any other inferior race in this world. And when Jabba and Orzon heard this, they both calmed down and felt more secure while looking at Robin, and a satisfied smile appeared on the two of them. Finally, after the full hour, Orzon spoke. This oath tablet is indeed a great invention. I can't even think of many applications this invention can be used in. I guess everything is set now. Shall we go into it? Robin nodded with a smile. Please go ahead. What I'm going to say will depend in large part on how strong you are. Orzon was silent for a few seconds as if consulting himself. Then he sighed and spoke. For 10,000 years we have been doing several tests of young children to see how strong and endurance their bodies are, and to see if they can withstand the second stage of the body-strengthening divine tattoo. This body structure is rare among us humans, and perhaps out of every 1,000 humans you will find 1 or 2 kids who can have the second stage of the body-strengthening divine tattoo. But this is also the percentage we want. The more divine tattoo users we have among us, the more likely the truth about what is happening inside the settlements would be endangered to be exposed. When the number of users inside a settlement reaches a certain number, say 20 divine tattoo users, some of them would be smuggled out of the settlements to join our armed groups to attack giant cities and slave markets and the caravans that transfer our kids to other tribes. All 210 human settlements follow the same pattern. We are all in contact with each other, and we got a few divine tattoo masters that we kidnapped a while ago. They work for us in exchange for their lives, and we would kidnap another 1 or 2 every now and then if an opportunity arouses. The rest of the inferior races also use similar methods, and we are in constant contact with them as well. And the attacks on the cities of the giants are coordinated with them to form terrorist groups so that they do not suspect one particular race. Tisk and I was the one wondering where all those bastards keep popping up again and again after we annihilate them every time, Jabba said annoyed. Robin patted his knee thinking and then spoke. If we say that every settlement has only 20 divine tattoo users among them, then the human race has at least 4,200 tattooed warriors inside all the settlements combined. That is not mentioning those who went out to join the armed forces to attack the giants. They should be more than the forces inside the settlements, but they also die at a fast rate. Can I say that humans in total have roughly 10,000 divine tattoo users that are able to use second-stage body-strengthening divine tattoo inside the lands of the Lightning Tribe alone? More or less, yes. Orzon nodded, amazed at Robin's calculations ability. There are 10,000 human terrorists out there? Jabba shouted. He couldn't believe what he heard. Not long ago he was taking credit in front of Robin that he destroyed many terrorist groups, but now his work doesn't seem that impressive at all. That's actually much more than I expected. I can't believe that you guys managed to keep everything secret at just a large scale of operations. Jabba, what would happen if all of those 10,000 divine tattoo users joined together and attacked the Lightning Tribe? Robin looked at him and asked. The inferior race's bodies can't handle the third stage of the body-strengthening divine tattoo. The only ones who can withstand a tattoo higher than a second degree other than giants are the demon race, and of course they are living in their own world and wouldn't be a problem. And if we talk just about the numbers of their warriors and shamans, then they are too little for a war between races, so they are losers in terms of quantity and quality. At best, they will be able to destroy a city or two, but after that, the whole human race will be annihilated. Chief Orzon nodded without emotion on his face. Robin remained silent for a second. So what about the rest of the races? What would happen if their soldiers also joined this war? Jabba shook his head. It won't do you any good. Assuming you manage to gather 200,000 fighters, what next? The result will not change. They will succeed in destroying a few cities. Then the hammers of the giants will come down on their heads to exterminate them all. Any uprising of this size will only bring destruction to the inferior races. There is also another problem. Assuming that a divine miracle occurs and the inferior beings win, what next? Will all inferior races unite? Do you think that the rest of the giant tribes around the lightning tribe will let them live in peace and love forever? Of course not. All races hate those who are different from them, even if they are in peace. If the inferior races really succeed, disputes will start between them and each team will go to rule its own land. Then the rest of the tribes will attack them and turn them into food within less than 1 year. Robin looked at Orzon to see his reaction and found that he was still silent, and there was even a look of sadness in his eyes. It is clear that this is really the reality. Jabba is the best to know the capabilities of the giants' military, and Ozon is the best to know the capabilities of the rest of the races. If this is their opinion together, then this is the reality. Robin remained silent for about 2 minutes, rubbing his chin, and an eyebrow began to approach each other little by little. What are you thinking? Tell me. Maybe I will make it easier for you. Orzon spoke. Sigh. Robin raised his head and openly declared, I am not of this world. Cricket sound in the background. Robin looked at Orzon and answered confidently to see the astonishment and perhaps some respect and fear, but he did not find any change in their features. Orzon even gestured to him to continue speaking. You too. If I told you I wanted to go to the bathroom, I would have found a better reaction than this. Robin yelled in frustration. Come on. It was too easy to guess this. Jabba spoke, and Orzon nodded. Continue, please. Why are you here? Tiscu took the fun out of it, Robin said annoyed, and then continued. There is someone who saved my life a while ago called the All-Seeing God. He is also a heaven's chosen according to your understanding of the term, and recently he asked me for a favor. He told me that his enemy was preparing a massive army to invade a certain planet to plunder its resources, and that I should go to stop that person from succeeding and especially prevent him from, and especially PR taking certain energy stones. Can you guess which planet I am talking about now? Nahari? Shouted Jabba. Orzon also furrowed an eyebrow and his features turned ugly. That's bad. They both thought he was a young man who wanted to go on adventures in another world to expand his horizons or something. But an invasion. And after the oath that Robin took before them, the choice to lie was no longer available. Every word he said was surely true. Humph. Let them come. The hammers of the Nahari giants are ready, Jabba said proudly. Robin looked at him. The all-seeing God knew everything about this planet before he sent me. His enemy who is preparing the army for the invasion must know everything about you too. You think he is going to start a war he can't win? Especially since you are oblivious to it? Since he is preparing the army, then he is damn sure that he can take you on, with your current power at least. How much time do we have? Orzon asked. About 50 years. Maybe a little less, Robin announced, forgetting for a second that has already spent about 4 years of those 50 in his personal wars before coming here. Less than 50 years. Damn it, that's not nearly enough to make a change in our forces. So, why are you here? How do you intend to stop such a wide-scale invasion? Where is your army? Jabba asked quickly. Actually, I can't send an army here even if I wanted because my planet is weaker than yours. If I somehow managed to get an army here, they wouldn't be of much help. Robin scratched his head. I intended to find a tribe chief's daughter and rescue her from the bad guys, for example, and flatter my way to her father and use him to unite the Nahari world. But here we are. Flatter? You wanted to use King tribe chief to unite Nahari. That's a good way to say you came without a plan, Jabba shouted. Robin shrugged his shoulders in response. He really didn't have a plan. Orzon clenched his hand tightly. What caused this invasion? Robin replied. The reason is a certain kind of energy stone that might turn the tide of wars between the two gods. According to my understanding of this world so far, I think what is meant is energy pearls. They want to bring an army here just to steal our money? Perplexed, Jabba asked. Energy pearls are really something extraordinary, but it's still just a way to buy goods in his eyes. It's not a big thing that causes a war between worlds. Robin looked at him. Not just stealing, this will be an army of extermination and sabotage. All energy pearls will be snatched from the planet, and most likely all the energy stones as well, and any resistance they find will be destroyed, and they may even enslave you even if you don't resist. When they are done with the planet, there won't be any left. The planet wouldn't be fit for life, much less cultivation. Hee hee. Ironic. Orzon looked at Jabba and started to chuckle with a provocative laugh. You little? Jabba looked at his side and almost punched Orzon, but he held himself back. He knew very well what he was laughing at. Orzon continued, Finally, the tide has turned and the giants will taste humiliation. Haha, it's good that it doesn't concern us. What could happen to us worse than what is happening right now? Thank you, Mr. Heaven's Chosen. You brought me some very good news. I will see the destruction of the Nahari giants with my own eyes before I die. You! Jabba was annoyed and shouted. Have you not heard of the saying, the devil that you know is better than an angel you don't? Devils. That's a befitting description. But sadly, I can't imagine anyone being worse off than you lot. Orzon shook his head, still grinning. Calm down. Robin signaled to the two of them to be silent, then looked at Orzon. You are half true. I actually intended to ignore the existence of humans and the rest of the inferior beings after I saw your weakness and humiliation at first, but now that I saw that the willingness to fight and survive is still in your blood, you may be an essential partner in my plan. Ha 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 ha, Orzon laughed loudly. Partner of what? Didn't you hear this, Jabba? We can't even defeat a few cities within the Lightning Tribe's lands, and talk about stopping an army ready to conquer the whole world? Are you in your right mind? Let them come and destroy what they want to destroy. What is the worst thing they can do if we submit? Enslave us? Our situation will not get any worse than this. And assuming we helped stop them and fought alongside the giants until we somehow won, then what? Going back to what we were before? No. Let them burn. Nahari has ceased to be our home planet since the appearance of the first Heaven's Chosen, and the giants kept reminding us of this fact long enough. Just listen to me. Who said I want you the way you are? All I need from you is your numbers and fighting spirit, and in terms of your strength and status, leave that on me. Robin hit him in the chest. Continue speaking. The sarcastic laugh disappeared from Orzon's face before he furrowed his eyebrows and asked. Robin remained silent for a few seconds as if balancing his words, and then said, At first I thought that the only way to stop the invasion was to gain the trust of the natives and gain widespread fame over, say, 30 years through my talismans and inventions. Then announce the news about the invasion and united them under one banner. Then I would strengthen them for the next 20 years before the invasion arrived. But it turned out that this is impossible. The size of the planet and the ways of governing here are terrible. It turns out that my plan will need 300 years, not just 30. That is, of course, not calculating the possibility that one of the giants eats me halfway since I'm just an inferior being. But now that you have explained the powers of the inferior races, another idea came to me. Perhaps I do not need to unite the entire Nahari race before the invasion comes. Perhaps all I need is a new kingdom. A kingdom? Orzon raised an eyebrow. Even Jabba gave a sarcastic smile. Boss, do you realize what you were saying? Just listen up and give me your opinion at the end. Robin straightened his sitting and began to speak earnestly. We gather the inferior races in one place that is out of sight, and give them the inner energy cultivation techniques, the cultivation techniques of the major heavenly laws, and the two absolute energy absorption techniques, given the energy density in the air and its availability in the earth and energy stones. I can say that we will build a strong army in just 10 years. Orzon and Jabba exchanged looks beside their eyes. Then Orzon spoke. Promising to prepare a strong army in 10 years is not an easy thing to say, but assuming you are right, there are a lot of loopholes in your plan. Then he continued, Let us walk step by step. First, where will the inferior races gather to lay the foundations for your kingdom? The Lightning Tribe or any tribe in general control all the water sources and the fertile lands suitable for agriculture or good for hunting, and they spread their soldiers all over these sites to prevent any large gathering of terrorist groups there. It is impossible for us to remain for long in one place and go unnoticed, especially if they are a large gathering of inferior races. This? Robin rubbed his head and then looked toward Jabba. Surely there are places that the lightning tribe don't care about, right? Jabba nodded. There are several empty places that no one goes to, but they are all extreme areas unfit for life. Tell me about some of those places, but keep in mind that they must be large enough to contain tens or even hundreds of thousands of people and stay unnoticed, said Robin seriously. There are only two areas that fit this description. The Great Darkness is a place where the sun does not enter and its aura repels all forms of life, and it is filled with poisonous swamps and extremely scary life forms. It is very large, but also a very dangerous place as well. The second region is the Desert of Death, which lies between us and the capital of the Fire Tribe. Tens of thousands of years ago, we were bitter enemies with them, and this region was the most dangerous and war-torn region because at its end lies the Fire Tribe capital itself. We used that road many times in the past and have succeeded in destroying and plundering their capital twice. And because of this, long ago the Fire Tribe army deliberately attacked but not us. They destroyed the rivers and lakes and even burned the trees in that area until it became an extremely vast cover of an uncultivable desert. There are not even many insects crawling in that place due to the scarcity of water. It was made with the intent to prevent any large group from entering this area, much less staying in it. I'm afraid your plan is doomed to fail before it begins, boss. Robin furrowed his eyebrow. So the problem with that desert is the source of the water and the suitability of the soil for farming? No one will discover us in it if we migrate there. No one will discover us if we go deep into it. No one dares to cut that desert either from our side or from the side of the Fire Tribe, because of the scarcity of water and food and the intense heat make this place a cemetery for those who enter it. And we and the Fire Tribe don't expect an attack from each other from that side either. But this is the last problem we can face in that area. Jabba raised an eyebrow. Robin focused on just this point of all his words. Robin raised his hand forward and a small cloud started to form on his palm. And then it started raining. What the hell? Orzon hurriedly stood up and took 2 steps toward Robin and began to inspect the little cloud. Oh my God! Jabba also quickly extended his finger and took a few drops to taste this liquid coming down from the cloud. This water is drinkable? I have a technique that can compress water in the atmosphere and turn it into a rain cloud. As you can see, it can be taught to everyone as a side law without problems. And you can also allocate a few people to build their knighthood pillars with it and they will be able to form clouds much bigger than this, and even draw clouds from outside the desert and bring it to where you are. The water problem now is over, I think. Robin spoke with a smile. Then he hit his hand on the floor under him. Cum. The hard soil under his feet began to shake, and in its place appeared soft mud. Then Robin spoke before anyone could react. I didn't really create this one for this, but it will benefit you all the same. With this technique, you can shift the soil and will extract the most suitable soil for farming even if it is tens of meters underground. You said that that area was fertile and had rivers and trees, right? So certainly somewhere down there is good soil. If you allocate a few people to build their knighthood pillars with this technique, they might also be able to dig deeper and find groundwater as well. Then he took a seed that was in one of the high-level plants that Archie's brought a little while ago and put it in the soil. After that he injected green energy into it, and the seed began to grow until it sprouted 2 leaves and began to grow until it reached half a foot. Oh my God! It takes 2 years for the autumn lotus to reach this height. Orzon could no longer maintain his dignity. So he knelt on the ground and began to look at the gain of the little lotus making its way up. Then he heard Robin speak with a voice full of confidence. This is one of the minor laws associated with the law of life. It can speed up the output of whatever you sow. You won't have to worry about starving in the desert anymore. Now is the first problem of forming my kingdom solved. Jabba, the #1 genius in the land of lightning and perhaps in this half of the planet, the huge creature about 3 meters tall, looked at Robin as if he was looking at a monster. Only now signs of his choice began to appear. His new boss turned out to be exactly as he expected. Perhaps even more. The first Heavens Chosen developed the system that already existed, and the second Heavens Chosen came to build on top of that as well. But Robin Burton's views and techniques were unseen before in this world. Ha 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 ha. You are indeed a Heavens Chosen. You are indeed a Heavens Chosen. Ha 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 ha. Orzon grabbed his head with both hands and started laughing out loud. Then, is there anything else that might block me from making this kingdom? Robin asked confidently. The first obstacle is indeed solved, Jabba sighed, but this time there was no sneer on his face. Then he spoke. The second problem is, how are the inferior races going there? The army and peacekeepers are everywhere, and they will notice any suspicious movements. If everyone tries to move at once, a war will start immediately, and you will not need to wait for 10 years. And if they start disappearing one by one from the settlements, it will be very slow on the one hand, and an investigation will be opened on the other, because the giants care about the numbers of people living inside the settlements, and they make a full survey to count the settlement's residents every now and then. Robin rubbed his chin for a few seconds and then suddenly opened his eyes to the last of them. This one is easier. Jabba, you can make it easier for everyone by sending maps of the places where the forces will be distributed during the next period to Chief Orzon, so that he can send reasonable numbers in large groups on those safe roads you will mark. With this, they will stay out of the sight of the giants and will move many people at once. And for the settlement population, we can use the demons. Demons? Jabba furrowed an eyebrow. Please explain more. The demons hunt intelligent creatures primarily, right? If there is an increase in the number of demons and they approach the settlements of intelligent creatures, then the population of these settlements will decrease as a normal thing. Robin said with a big smile on his face. Wait. Orzon waved in the air upon hearing this. You want to bring demons right next to us? And you intend to increase their numbers as well? Do you want us to die before we establish that kingdom of yours? They will never touch a hair of you. Leave it on me. Robin confidently hit his chest. Come on, what is the third problem? Jabba and Orzon fell silent and started exchanging looks. Robin's crazy suggestion is starting to take shape. We will need resources and tools for farming, training, buildings, weapons, etc. Orzon said as if he had finally found the loophole. I can provide all this. I have enough money and loyal followers to fund you. Jabba held an eyebrow and replied. This? Orzon fell into silence again, and his heart started beating fast. This is really happening. I found it. The rest of the races will not agree to make a kingdom in which the ruling class is humans. Orzon shouted. Robin furrowed his eyebrow. You are right, even if at first they agree there will be trouble later. Let's create a sect then instead of a kingdom. It will be governed by a council of the elders of each race, and everything will be decided in the council. And I will be my honorary president for the sect as its founder. This will solve the problem. Orzon opened his mouth for a few seconds but didn't say anything. But his eyes automatically went to look at the little cloud reigning next to Robin. This is possible. Jabba muttered in a low voice. Haha, good then. Robin laughed out loud and then turned back to look at Orzon. What do you think, Chief Orzon? Is the project worth it or not? Orzon kept looking at the rain cloud without saying a word for about a minute, apparently thinking and assessing the situation in a wise and calm manner. But Robin could hear his heart beating loudly and feel his body trembling. He couldn't tell if it was because of fear or excitement. At last, Orzon gave a long sigh and spoke. It seems my bones have weakened and become accustomed to this filthy way of life. Mr. Robin, your grand dream will most likely end with the death of all of us. But damn, I want to participate in it. Ha. This is the spirit. Robin laughed out loud. There is finally a glimmer of hope in this mission. According to their words, all the secondary races, aside from the demons, has about 200,000 fighters already. If their anger and agony over their current life were to be used to cultivate their inner energy system, they would form a massive force very quickly. Please wait a moment. Jabba raised his hand and then looked into Robin's eyes seriously. Boss, what would that sect's main goal be? Robin smiled and looked at Jabba. I know what you are thinking. The sect will be a safe haven for the inferior intelligent races and will give them the power to negotiate with the giants. I won't use it to start wars against the giants. This won't help in the main goal I told you about earlier anyway. I want unification and strengthening, not more wars. Please keep that in mind, old Orzon, as well. I have no problem. To live in safety and not be afraid that a giant appears out of nowhere and takes me or takes one of my sons is heaven in itself. Orzon spoke. Even the words were coming out heavy from his mouth as if he wanted to cry. This is a dream for him. Good, Robin said and stood up. I need Uncle Archies with me to arrange for a big tent of my own, and I will give him a list of more resources I will need to prepare the techniques and a few utilities for you. Jabba, you start communicating with your colleagues and tell us the distribution of the army and forces between this place and the Desert of Death, and start preparing needed money and buy the resources needed to establish the sect. Old Orzon, you contact the human chiefs and the rest of the other trusted races, tell them what is going on, and wait for the signal to start moving. We have very busy days in the coming period. Work hard, everyone. Half a day later. Done. Robin grabbed a metal tablet and lifted it up with a smile, then looked next to him at a crimson-colored creature sitting in one of the corners of the tent. After it got dark, Robin and Archies helped the demon to sneak into the settlement without anyone noticing, and brought him into this tent to stay with Robin. Thinking of it, the demon's aura had become so much stronger than the day he ate those peacekeepers. Robin could no longer rank him whether he had the strength of a middle or high-level shaman anymore. If this demon's fight against the head of the caravan was repeated now, then the demon wouldn't have needed Robin's intervention, and he wouldn't have come out with all these wounds. And it doesn't seem that his aura has been fixed there either. It is still somehow growing. Amazing! Robin muttered upon noticing this wondrous ability of the demons. It is indeed a blessing for them and a disaster for the rest of the intelligent races. Robin approached him and extended the metal tablet to him. Then he sent him through the thought-conveying technique. Put your hand on this tablet. No matter how intense the pain you will feel in your head, don't take your hand away until the pain is completely gone. Understand? Without further ado and without a second's delay, the demon reached out his hand and placed it on the metal tablet. The demon continued writhing in pain for about a minute, but he didn't dare to take his hand off. Only eventually, after his breathing stabilized again, he removed his hand and turned his head toward Robin in amazement. There must be a lot of information has appeared in your head now. This technique will enable you to talk to me as I talk to you, and will also enable you to talk to the rest of your species. Excited? Robin said with a smile. The demon nodded his head quickly. Although the demons didn't know the meaning of the term smile, Robin could spot a slight smile on his face. Good. I know you haven't practiced anything in your life. This will be a new experience for you. Take your time and tell me when you are done. Then Robin turned and went back to his table. Although he did not have to invent anything new, supporting thousands or perhaps tens of thousands of people who did not know the internal energy cultivation system to create a sect was not an easy thing. Besides making several copies of the techniques of the heavenly laws of darkness, wind, and fire, he will also have to make copies of almost all the minor laws that he discovered while meditating in the cave. They are like newborns with everything that has to do with the internal energy cultivation system, and they are suddenly faced with the task of building a sect and a strong army in only 10 years. Such people in an environment like this would need all possible help, especially if they had to become strong enough to stand up to the giant tribes before they draw attention. By then it would be too late. After 2 days. Damn! You scared me. Robin felt something beside him while he was concentrating on making one of the tablets. And when he looked, he found the demon only a few inches away from him. Seeing his reaction, the demon quickly took a step back in fright. What do you want? Have you completed your cultivation on the thoughts-conveying technique? Robin let out a short sigh and asked via the thoughts-conveying technique. The demon nodded. Good. Say something then. I'm listening. Robin quartered his hand and looked at the demon in anticipation. The goblin remained silent for about a minute. Then his body started to tremble slightly and began making involuntary movements. I can't hear you. Are you saying something? Robin furrowed his eyebrow and sent. The demon nodded vigorously. Come. Robin grabbed the demon's hand and then sent. Try again. I. Thank you. A voice popped into Robin's mind. Haha, no need for that between us. Robin laughed loudly. Do you have a name? The demon nodded and then began to move the nostrils on his neck, and a distinctive smell came out. What the hell this? Your name, Fart. Robin waved his hand to drive away the bad smell, then continued. Now that you can speak, you must have a proper name. You know what? I'll give you a name that suits you from my motherland. What do you think of the name? Amon? Amon greets. Lord. The demon got down on both knees and touched the tips of Robin's fingers with both hands, clearly a sign of submission or something among the race of the demons. Robin grabbed the demon's shoulders and lifted it up and spoke. "You don't have to do that. Let's get to the point. The power system your race is using is based on eating the bodies of beings that carry the ancient bloodline, and you didn't even have slight direct contact with the energy your whole life, which made your souls much weaker than the humans and other inferior races of this planet. For now, you will have to touch your target before you speak to him via the thought-conveying technique. This is the only way your target can hear you." The demon nodded. He was really happy with what he had achieved so far. The first speaking demon in the history of his species. "But don't worry, I have a solution for this." Robin threw a plate of metal at him. "This is a soul-strengthening technique. Practice it, and it will increase your soul sensibility and power, and will allow you to talk to whoever you want without touching them and—" "Wait a moment." At that point, Robin was silent, raised an eyebrow for a few seconds, and then started laughing loudly. "Ha ha ha, isn't that just excellent? Increasing your soul sense range means that you will be able to identify everything around you without needing your nose. The giant's trick on you will be useless. This will hit two birds with one stone." Piamon took a step forward, touched Robin's hand in a respectful manner, and sent out, "What? Trick? Oh, don't you know? Tell me, do the cubs of your species die constantly in their nests? Do adults die suddenly in their sleep? Did you wake up one day to find yourself somewhere else without knowing how?" Send Robin. Amon nodded once. "Do you know the reason behind this?" Robin asked with a smile. Amon waited a second, then shook his head weakly. His body language seemed tense and anticipating. "Then let me enlighten you. The giant race has a herbal formula that covers their scent completely and makes them invisible to you. They enter your nests to kill your cubs and kidnap whom they want, or kill the demons who reach a certain level of power. They walk under your noses to do whatever they want, and you don't even know." Amon broke a few fangs after hearing this. "Calm down and tell me, what do you intend to do with this information?" Robin asked with a smile. "Eat them." A terrible killing intent came from Amon upon hearing this. Even without checking the news, it is definitely true as long as this venerable said it in front of him. "That's a bad idea. You will be killed before you know it. Now that your soul sense is strengthening, you will see the true power of the giants. We are stronger than my lord think. When what you said become known for all the demons. When we all have the ability to see the giant race. We will eat them all." Amon sent via thoughts conveying technique. "You may be right, but just listen, you making a revolt now wouldn't help anyone. The number of demons is low compared to the giants due to the systematic killings you are subjected to. If resistance appears among your ranks now, you will be surrounded and crushed even if you put one hell of a fight. What you guys want is to begin a new era, not just revenge. Wait until the right moment comes. I want you to go to the leaders of the biggest of the demon nests nearby, teach them the thoughts-conveying technique, and teach them the soul-strengthening technique. Let them see with themselves what is happening around them and see the giants walking among them and killing their cubs. But you must promise me something." Robin spoke seriously. "Anything. For my lord." Amon sent out as he lowered his head. "After you all make sure that the information I gave you is correct, don't attack the giants in the nests. Your leaders should come to meet me here as soon as possible. Do you think they will agree? If they refuse, I will become stronger and eat them too. Everything for the sake of my lord." Amon sent out. "Good, you may go now, and don't take too long." Robin clapped and smiled. The demon fell to his knees and touched the tips of Robin's toes again with both hands, then disappeared from the tent, and under the cover of the night. He disappeared from the whole settlement silently. After 2 weeks. "Mr. Robin, may I come in?" Orzon's voice echoed from outside the tent all of a sudden. "Come in." Orzon entered Robin's tent for the first time since their meeting that day and was surprised by the sight he found. "This?" Orzon muttered. "Metal tablets, herbs, and splashed ink. Everywhere." This tent was not small. It could be said that it was a full house suitable for a large family. But there was not a single inch that was not covered with these metal tablets. "What's the news, Chief? Do you want something?" asked Robin, still focused on the metal tablet in front of him and not looking back. Aha. Ahem. I contacted all the leaders of the human settlements through our men in the militant groups and told them about your existence and your idea. 80% of them agreed to take the risk and move to the desert of death. And then I contacted the heads of the settlements of the rest of the inferior intelligent races. About 50% of them agreed. Orzon said, grinding. He looked so happy, saying every word. HM? What about the rest? Robin left what was in his hand and furrowed his eyebrows. They are only afraid that they will die out in the desert, for they have not seen with their own eyes what I have seen. That cloud. Anyway, do not be afraid. They know how to shut their mouths. Even those who do not join us will not report our attempt to the giants. And they will certainly join us after they see with their own eyes how we will turn that desert into a paradise. Our sect paradise. Orzon spoke excitedly. I have no doubt that they will shut their mouths. You would have been a babbler among you. You would have all been exterminated long ago, The important thing is to take this into account when calculating the number of seats of each race on the sect board. Robin laughed. This was indeed a strange phenomenon that made him think a lot. Tens of thousands who have divine tattoos and not one of them spoke under torture and sold out the settlements in all those years. But he witnessed it himself with those girls who accepted the fate of being eaten alive and refused to say one word to get a better ending. Maybe this is because they are faced with extinction every day. Maybe because their fate won't change much even if they talked. Whatever that reason is, their resolve is really a cause for astonishment and envy. Then, why did you come to me? Robin went back to draw something and asked. We have already chosen a good spot that lies deep in the desert of death. It's wide and plain enough to build a large city, and now preparations are being made for the beginning of the migration. Jabba also bought everything we needed and stored it in a private property for us at the edge of the desert. We can start today. Orzon spoke seriously. His heart was pounding fast and hard as he spoke. Good. I'm done with my part too, almost at least. I have been trying to make more sound talismans and soul print cards before you set off. But I think I can make more of those later. Robin opened his arms and smiled. Sound talismans? Soul print cards? What are those? Orzon mumbled. Haha, these are things that will help you a lot in your task of building the sect, and will give the militant groups an overwhelming advantage in their battles. Unfortunately, there are no suitable rings here, so I made sound talismans on metal cards as well, but I think it will do the job. Don't worry, I will explain to you how the sound talismans and soul imprint cards work shortly. In that corner, you will find about 100 minor laws to help you with daily life matters, and it is preferable that you give them to women, the elderly, and those who are unable to fight in general. And those special-looking tablets are the major heavenly laws tablets. They are the strongest of the laws, and all army members should use them. As for those tablets, they have techniques to teach you how to build your inner energy center and how to absorb energy and densify it, and also how to strengthen and revitalize your souls, and a few other random things you will find while you are searching. At this point, Robin was silent for a minute. Then he continued, I was intending to make a few offensive talismans, but I think you are strong enough to protect yourselves in the desert, so there is no need for that. Chief Orzon, I have given you literally everything you could need to build a strong sect in the shortest time frame. Don't disappoint me. Orzon was silent for a moment as he looked at the treasure of tablets around him, then looked toward Robin. Don't worry. If we let this opportunity slip from our hands, we'd really be unworthy of living in this world again. Good. You can take everything except that pile there and start the migrations today. But it must be done in a few numbers first to lay the foundations only there. After Amon returns with the good news, we will begin the real migration. Robin spoke and put the pen on the table behind him. The frenzy of preparations is finally over. As you wish, Orzon said, then nodded and backed away, but stood before he walked out of the tent, and then looked behind him and asked, By the way, what would the name of the sect be? Robin shrugged his shoulders. Name it as you wish. After my mission is over and this world is saved from the incoming invasion, I'll go back to where I came from. I have no intention of interfering with your business further. Orzon gave a big smile, then nodded and left silently to give the order to begin immigration that will change the shape of the Nahari world forever. The days have passed quickly since the migration decision was made. Waiting for Amon to return, Robin didn't move from the human settlement number 53 even for a second, afraid that he would miss him. In the first few days, Robin was busy preparing several additional thought-conveying tablets that carried copies of the most important laws and even some additional soul imprint cards and sound runes cards. Many days passed and he completed all the tablets he wanted, but still no sign of the demon coming, so he decided to focus on training and forget about him for now. Within 10 days after that, he managed to break through to level 19 with no problems. And after about a week of establishing his new energy level and making a few preparations, he immediately started a new training session. After another month, he managed to break through to level 20, and was only one step away from sainthood. Since Robin arrived in this world, he has raised his energy level 4 times in a row, and in less than 3 months, a bone-chilling rate for anyone who uses the inner energy cultivation system. After all, this feat wasn't possible for 99% of the people. All you need to break through is the right understanding of the law and enough energy, but even with those 2 elements ready, any sane cultivator has to take his time. As the nature of the body changes slowly after each level, and it takes time for it to become stronger and more suitable for the law that it uses. And even after the body stabilizes, the cultivator has to stay at his level for a while until he gets used to his strength thoroughly and is ready to receive extra power. However, Robin is an exception to this. His body is still the way it was since he was young, and nothing changed in it except his eyes, and it upgrades almost immediately after the breakthrough. So all he needs is a proper understanding of the path of truth. Another month has passed. Robin has spent his time trying to look around the sainthood of the truth path, and there's still no news from the demon. But this did not stop the migration process. After the arrival of the first batch of immigrants to the new land of the sect, and they began transforming the soil, extracting water, and accelerating the germination of fruit trees, it was easy for many children and mothers who were unable to fight to go and contribute in building the sect. According to reports with Orzon, in the past 3 months, more than 5,000 inferior race members were able to safely reach the sect's land, fleeing successfully from their settlements. Not only that, the militant groups began extensive operations to kill the giants who enslave a large number of inferior races and then send them towards the land of the sect. And the shocking piece of news is that the most exhausted person in all of this was no one but Jabba, obstructing peacekeepers' investigations, finding out where they are located in detail and where the army units are gathering, continuously sending resources from his personal own pocket to the sect, and even using his Draco to fly back and forth watching what's going on and making sure nothing wrong happened. His work rate began to even change Orzon's attitude towards him. After 2 more weeks, Orzon's voice suddenly sounded from the front of the tent. "Mr. Robin, you should see this." Robin came out and looked around and found that it was already dark, and it seemed to have been darkened a long time ago. "What's the matter? Come with me." Orzon spoke and then walked in front of him with his usual submissive, curved walk through the streets of the settlement until they got out of it, and then they walked for another quarter of an hour deep into the woods. "Lord, I'm sorry. I'm late." A crimson-colored shadow appeared out of nowhere and lowered its knee and touched Robin's toes. Robin nodded. "You are really late. I told you to go to the big nests next to us. What took you so long?" Suddenly 3 shadows landed in front of Robin, their aura causing him to involuntarily take a step back. The 3 of them are demons also very similar to Amon, but their colors are darker and they had long white hair. 2 of them remind Robin of the aura he felt from Sage Albert. The 2 of them are lower-level sages. As for the demon standing in the middle and the darkest of them all, his aura was even stronger, a mid-level sage. "Oh my God!" Robin muttered, "The demons have individuals that strong?" King. Amon pointed at the person standing in the middle and spoke through the thought-conveying technique. "I told you to go to some nests next to us, but you brought me the king of your entire race?" Robin panicked when he heard this and sent for Amon, who tilted his head down. As for the Demon King, he took a few steps forward until he was less than a foot between him and looked at him from above for a few seconds, then went on his knee next to Amon and touched Robin's left foot. "What the?" This time Robin really panicked. Even Orzon opened his eyes to the end of the view. "Please stand up. What are you doing?" Robin grabbed the Demon King's shoulders and tried to lift him up. Then Robin heard a message from Amon. The king was frightened. The first time. When he heard me talking to him. But he decided to listen to me and learn the 2 techniques my lord gave me. After his spiritual sense increased to a few meters, he discovered 3 giants in his own nest. They were about to kill 2 of his newborns. So he ate them. This. Robin didn't know what to say. The race of giants really gets so arrogant. They let a powerful demon be the king of his race and watch over him, but at the same time get rid of his strong bloodline. I have hundreds of females and gave birth to more than 1,000 cubs, but not a single one lived. The oldest one reached only 2 years of age before he died. I thought I was cursed by the heavens, but only now did I know the reason. These giants were using me and killing my children while they were under my nose. The king said angrily. Then he continued, Lord, if it wasn't for you, we would live in darkness forever. You are the greatest benefactor of our race. These 2 techniques are enough to be your servants forever. Amon told me you want to meet the chiefs of the nearby nests. Here I am myself. My orders are obeyed among all the demons and your wishes are orders to me. Please command me. The demon race king spoke through the thought-conveying technique, his thoughts reaching Robin in a far more orderly and smoother manner than Amon's. I wouldn't be polite then. Please listen to the end and give me your thoughts. We plan to create a sect that unites all the non-giant races. First, I want your race to join it. Second, I want you to do a few small plays to cover up the rapid disappearance of people from the settlements. I also want you to stop hunting them, said Robin. We sow as you say, but the hunt. The Demon King seemed troubled. What? Can't you live without eating the members of the intelligent races? We can live by eating the beasts and animal meat, but to wouldn't make us stronger. The Demon King sent. That's what I thought. Then issue an order to stop hunting the people of the sect, and those from the settlements who want to join us. Eat the beasts and animals primarily for now, and I promise you will have a lot more intelligent races to eat in the future. We do as you say. Good. We will go into more details now. You wouldn't regret this, Robin said and gave a big smile. The race of demons that terrorize every being in this world is without a doubt an extremely huge addition to his forces. The days have passed quickly since the migration decision was made. Waiting for Amon to return, Robin didn't move from the human settlement number 53 even for a second, afraid that he would miss him. In the first few days, Robin was busy preparing several additional thought-conveying tablets that carried copies of the most important laws and even some additional soul imprint cards and sound runes cards. Many days passed and he completed all the tablets he wanted, but still no sign of the demon coming, so he decided to focus on training and forget about him for now. Within 10 days after that, he managed to break through to level 19 with no problems. And after about a week of establishing his new energy level and making a few preparations, he immediately started a new training session. After another month, he managed to break through to level 20, and was only one step away from sainthood. Since Robin arrived in this world, he has raised his energy level 4 times in a row, and in less than 3 months, a bone-chilling rate for anyone who uses the inner energy cultivation system. After all, this feat wasn't possible for 99% of the people. All you need to break through is the right understanding of the law and enough energy, but even with those 2 elements ready, any sane cultivator has to take his time. As the nature of the body changes slowly after each level, and it takes time for it to become stronger and more suitable for the law that it uses. And even after the body stabilizes, the cultivator has to stay at his level for a while until he gets used to his strength thoroughly and is ready to receive extra power. However, Robin is an exception to this. His body is still the way it was since he was young, and nothing changed in it except his eyes, and it upgrades almost immediately after the breakthrough. So all he needs is a proper understanding of the path of truth. Another month has passed. Robin has spent his time trying to look around the sainthood of the truth path, and there's still no news from the demon. But this did not stop the migration process. After the arrival of the first batch of immigrants to the new land of the sect, and they began transforming the soil, extracting water, and accelerating the germination of fruit trees, it was easy for many children and mothers who were unable to fight to go and contribute in building the sect. According to reports with Orzon, in the past 3 months, more than 5,000 inferior race members were able to safely reach the sect's land, fleeing successfully from their settlements. Not only that, the militant groups began extensive operations to kill the giants who enslave a large number of inferior races and then send them towards the land of the sect. And the shocking piece of news is that the most exhausted person in all of this was no one but Jabba, obstructing peacekeepers' investigations, finding out where they are located in detail and where the army units are gathering, continuously sending resources from his personal own pocket to the sect, and even using his Draco to fly back and forth watching what's going on and making sure nothing wrong happened. His work rate began to even change Orzon's attitude towards him. After 2 more weeks, Orzon's voice suddenly sounded from the front of the tent. "Mr. Robin, you should see this." Robin came out and looked around and found that it was already dark, and it seemed to have been darkened a long time ago. "What's the matter? Come with me." Orzon spoke and then walked in front of him with his usual submissive, curved walk through the streets of the settlement until they got out of it, and then they walked for another quarter of an hour deep into the woods. "Lord, I'm sorry. I'm late." A crimson-colored shadow appeared out of nowhere and lowered its knee and touched Robin's toes. Robin nodded. "You are really late. I told you to go to the big nests next to us. What took you so long?" Suddenly 3 shadows landed in front of Robin, their aura causing him to involuntarily take a step back. The 3 of them are demons also very similar to Amon, but their colors are darker and they had long white hair. 2 of them remind Robin of the aura he felt from Sage Albert. The 2 of them are lower-level sages. As for the demon standing in the middle and the darkest of them all, his aura was even stronger, a mid-level sage. "Oh my God!" Robin muttered, "The demons have individuals that strong?" King. Amon pointed at the person standing in the middle and spoke through the thought-conveying technique. "I told you to go to some nests next to us, but you brought me the king of your entire race?" Robin panicked when he heard this and sent for Amon, who tilted his head down. As for the Demon King, he took a few steps forward until he was less than a foot between him and looked at him from above for a few seconds, then went on his knee next to Amon and touched Robin's left foot. "What the?" This time Robin really panicked. Even Orzon opened his eyes to the end of the view. "Please stand up. What are you doing?" Robin grabbed the Demon King's shoulders and tried to lift him up. Then Robin heard a message from Amon. The king was frightened, the first time, when he heard me talking to him. But he decided to listen to me and learn the 2 techniques my lord gave me. After his spiritual sense increased to a few meters, he discovered 3 giants in his own nest. They were about to kill 2 of his newborns, so he ate them. Robin didn't know what to say. The race of giants really gets so arrogant. They let a powerful demon be the king of his race and watch over him, but at the same time get rid of his strong bloodline. I have hundreds of females and gave birth to more than 1,000 cubs, but not a single one lived. The oldest one reached only 2 years of age before he died. I thought I was cursed by the heavens, but only now did I know the reason. These giants were using me and killing my children while they were under my nose. The king said angrily. Then he continued, "Lord, if it wasn't for you, we would live in darkness forever. You are the greatest benefactor of our race. These 2 techniques are enough to be your servants forever. Amon told me you want to meet the chiefs of the nearby nests. Here I am myself. My orders are obeyed among all the demons and your wishes are orders to me. Please command me." The demon race king spoke through the thought-conveying technique, his thoughts reaching Robin in a far more orderly and smoother manner than Amon's. "I wouldn't be polite then. Please listen to the end and give me your thoughts. We plan to create a sect that unites all the non-giant races. First, I want your race to join it. Second, I want you to do a few small plays to cover up the rapid disappearance of people from the settlements. I also want you to stop hunting them," said Robin. "We sow as you say, but the hunt." The Demon King seemed troubled. "What? Can't you live without eating the members of the intelligent races? We can live by eating the beasts and animal meat, but wouldn't make us stronger." The Demon King sent. "That's what I thought. Then issue an order to stop hunting the people of the sect, and those from the settlements who want to join us. Eat the beasts and animals primarily for now, and I promise you will have a lot more intelligent races to eat in the future. We do as you say. Good. We will go into more details now. You wouldn't regret this, Robin said and gave a big smile. The race of demons that terrorize every being in this world is without a doubt an extremely huge addition to his forces. Hiding the fact that they can see the giants now, and in the most necessary circumstances, they should act like they found the giants by chance to not expose their new abilities. Stationing near the settlements that began their immigration to help them emigrate in large numbers. Sending some powerful demons to the sect site to establish their own branch. Agreeing not to hunt anyone from the settlements that agreed to emigrate or from those who arrived in the sect. And many other deals that took more than an hour to talk about. Then the king and his followers touched Robin's foot and returned from where they came to begin arranging for the next steps, while Amon remained with Robin to be the link between them, and as expected from the king of his race, even without long-distance communication, he was able to issue his commands to all the demon nests in the land of the Lightning Tribe in a matter of a few days, and only 10 days after the encounter, the demons started coming out of their known hunting and nesting spots and went to besiege many of the human and other races' settlements. And the disappearance rate of the inferior races of those settlements increased tenfold with this. Soon after that, the giants will notice what is happening and will send army squads to expel the demons and get them back to their nests. But it will be too late. Whoever is able to migrate will have already migrated by then. And the demons would come back every now and then to do the same trick again and again. And as time passes and more demons will learn the thoughts-conveying technique and the soul-strengthening technique, the operations will be even faster and more efficient. After another month, Robin finally got out of his tent when he heard the sound of huge wings beating in the air. Finally decided to come back? Jabba jumped off his Draco and spoke with a laugh. Wasn't it you who did all this to me? I was the deputy chief of the peacekeepers and I had my standing everywhere I go. But now I'm a delivery boy and middleman. But you like it, don't you? Robin chuckled and then continued seriously. By the way, I need a few books about the divine tattoos of different stages. Can you bring them to me? Jabba shook his head. I'm afraid it's impossible. These books are with the official divine tattoo academies and cannot be taken out of them no matter who asks. We cannot allow the appearance of divine tattooists from the rest of the races or getting the other tribes to get our lightning-attacking tattoos easily. Can I go to one of those academies if you recommend me? Robin said. There are several places to learn to draw inscriptions in the land of the Lightning Tribe. The best of them is the Central Academy of Divine Tattoos, which is located in the capital city. They have the highest level of divine tattoo education in the tribe. But none of the academies will accept someone of another race to teach him the top secrets of giants. Even if I was the one who brought you in. Robin muttered and furrowed his eyebrows. To strengthen this world, all its secrets must be known, and the system of power upon which everyone depends must not remain unknown to him, especially if he intends to establish good relations with the giants later. It's also been almost 2 months since Robin broke through to level 20. Since then he's been trying to find any thread to lead him to the second stage of the path of the truth. But nothing came out of it. He will surely get hold of the end of the string one day, but when? After a decade? A century? 1,000 years? Building the knighthood pillars was relatively easy because it was the first stage of the law that Reuben spent more than a century trying to understand. But now when trying to find the second stage is completely different. Listen. I have a suggestion, but I don't know if you will like it. Seeing the frustration on Robin's face, Jabba spoke. What is it? I can register as a student in the academy and take you with me as my assistant. I will bring you into the lecture halls to help me carry my things, for example, and you will be able to read all the books since we will live in the same house. Jabba spoke while scratching his head. You mean I live in the academy as a slave? Robin's eyebrows. Almost. If you don't want to forget about it, it was just a suggestion that just crossed my mind. Jabba waved his hands. After saying his proposal, he quickly regretted. A heaven's chosen acting like a slave? This didn't seem right at all. The suggestion is actually quite good. It will keep me out of sight for now as well. All right, let's do it. Robin nodded and then turned and went to Orzon to tell him that he was leaving and put the last points with them on the letters. then contacted Amon to tell him his next destination. Then he came back shortly and entered his tent again, brought a huge bag full of metal tablets, and threw it toward Jabba. Isn't it supposed to be left to the bossy old man to give to the sect? Why they are still with you? Jabba spoke in amazement. Robin jumped over the Draco first and spoke. They are all made for you. You will know everything when we settle into the academy. Now let's go. Jabba opened his eyes to the last of them when he heard this and looked at the bag full of metal tablets one last time. Then sighed and climbed over the Draco too, and they flew towards the northeast. Easier than expected. This was the headline that Robin put up for what happened that day. After only 3 hours of riding the Draco, they both arrived at the academy, and after another half an hour, Robin found himself inside one of the largest housing units inside the academy. There were reactions of surprise, astonishment, and even disbelief when Jabba expressed his intention to become a divine tattoo master. But they welcomed him with open arms as if he were a lost son. They did not meet any obstacles or silly protocols. Everyone was satisfied with bowing to Jabba and providing all kinds of facilitation for him. Even all the famous divine tattoo masters in the academy began to fight among themselves over who would have the honor of teaching the most famous talent in the land, Jabba himself. But Robin repeatedly sent him through the thoughts-conveying technique to tell him to reject any offers from those professors and that he wanted to study alone now and that he only wanted to access the library, and he had exactly what he wanted. Dozens of books were taken from the library to Jabba's house on the same day. When Jabba saw the look of happiness and enthusiasm in Robin's eye when the books arrived, he shook his head at the sight of this nerd of a heaven's chosen, but soon he understood as the same look appeared on Jabba's face, as he used the first thoughts-conveying tablet to learn how to cultivate the inner energy system, and the second one was about the perfect fire heavenly law, and the third and 50s. Every and each one of the tablets that Robin got for him was a minor or major heavenly law, or a unique technique that never appeared in this world before. His whole life's work. Robin in his pile of paper books and Jabba in a pile of metal tablets. They both started their own way. And with this, more than 6 months passed by in a flash. This was the longest time Robin had ever spent studying something others had written, and he loved every moment of it. Especially the first stage of the body-strengthening divine tattoo, it took almost most of that time going through it. For all the masters of divine tattoos, all they have to do is memorize the shape of the tattoo and the order they draw it in, but Robin looked beyond that. He spent his time trying to dismantle it piece by piece to know what the heavenly laws are used in it and what are the seals and how they work together. It turns out that under the double veil of encryption that appears at the top of the tattoo itself is so intricate that it did not need all the protection that the first chosen of heaven placed upon it. The tattoo did not contain a specific pure heavenly law like the method Robin usually uses, but rather was a combination of parts from dozens of minor laws. Most of them were the first stage of physical laws such as minor laws regarding how bones, skin, muscles, and blood work. The rest were just a few seals to attract energy to operate those minor laws at the same time on all the living creatures' scope, and make sure that every divine tattoo to strengthen its specialty in the body in every second of the day. He did not forget anything and did not overlook the importance of any minor detail. Everything related to the body of the giants is present in this marvelous rune that was collected in ideal shape and sizes. It was as if the one who invented it was a doctor specializing in anatomy and had hundreds of years of experience in the field before he thought about his work. Maybe that is what he has been doing in seclusion all those years before he saw the truth. Whether it was the method of merging all those minor laws into one rune or the method of constantly attracting energy and using it all the time without problems to nourish and power the divine tattoo, the first heavens chosen was a true genius. All the offensive divine tattoos that the first heavens chosen created are minor laws as well, not a single major law among them. Robin also took an overview of the second stage divine body strengthening tattoo and found that he only increased the tattoo area on the body and increased the size of the minor laws patterns in it, and was also able to develop the 5 most important minor laws among them to the second stage. Although he used the truth as a side path and had very limited vision, his extreme intelligence compensated for this, and was able to create an ideal energy system for his species with his limited capabilities. Even if Robin had been using the first stage of the truth all his life and never built his pillars using it, he would have been able to discover the second stage of some laws with no doubt as well. It would be more difficult and taken longer and maybe not as pure, but it is possible. The first heavens chosen was in that same position. His eyes couldn't even match Robin's vision efficiency when he first saw the truth. So the second stage of body strengthening tattoo was indeed the highest achievement he could achieve in his life, even if he lived longer. Perhaps if he had been given more time, he would have produced other tattoos of the same level or more offensive divine tattoos. It's the loss of this planet that he didn't have the chance. However, the 6 months were not wasted for Robin. He wasn't reading to waste time or know about his older brothers. This tattoo was specifically designed to work on the bodies of giants, and this became more apparent after its content was dismantled. But if he can make a few modifications to it. Hey Chief, how long do I have to study these minor laws? And what is the point anyway? When will you give me the law that I will build my knighthood pillars with? Just chose any random one for me? Or should I choose? Jabba's voice suddenly cut Robin's line of thought. After 1 month of arriving at the academy, Jabba understood how to start training his inner energy system and began preparing his energy foundations, and he had already reached the 10th level of energy foundations. Meanwhile, under Robin's pressure, Jabba began to go through dozens of other metal plates that contained minor and major techniques and keys to laws. As explained by the internal energy system, he only needs one of these, though Robin forces him to read and understand everything and then reread them again and again when he's finished, with no apparent intention to stop anytime soon. You won't stop bothering me until you know it, will you? As you wish then. Robin looked at him annoyed over the pile of books, then took out a metal plate larger than the rest and threw it at Jabba. Here you go, my little disciple. Let's see if the miracle of the second heavens chosen can be repeated. This? Jabba passed his spiritual sense inside the metal plate and opened his eyes at the end of them. Master Law of Truth? I made you read all the minor and major laws that I discovered to open your eyes more to the world around you. This is the way I took to discover the truth, and now you are almost ready. What you are holding in your hand now is not a direct technique like the rest of what you have read, but it is the juice of all my experience with the truth all these years. It is similar information to what the second heavens chosen received before the truth accepted him. This is what makes a person heavens chosen. This is the truth. Robin spoke seriously. I? A heavens chosen? I? Jabba grabbed the metal plate as if it was the greatest treasure in existence. Well, not quite. Robin shrugged. As it happened with the first heavens chosen one and his bloodline, you can see that this is not easy. Even with all this information, you must be accepted by the truth to be able to see it. Read everything, comprehend it, and try hard. Then leave everything else to your fate. Jabba raised his face to look Robin straight in the eye and then fell to his knees. Whether I was chosen by the truth or not, I appreciate how massive this opportunity is, and I will always remember it. Thank you, Master. Robin nodded with a smile. This was the first time Jabba had called him Master. Then he stood and moved toward the door. I will go borrow more books. You stay here and do what you have to do. Yes. Robin's desire to modify the body-strengthening divine tattoo to suit the nature of the human body increased exponentially after Jabba succeeded in training on the inner energy system without problems all the way to the 10th level, even though he already had the 3rd stage of the divine body-strengthening tattoo. With this, he knew that a strengthened body doesn't reject inner energy storage, and this was great news. But unfortunately, this is still gambling. He does not know what will happen if both methods reach an advanced level together. Jabba hasn't even built his first pillars yet. Will there be a conflict? Unfortunately, there is no way of knowing without someone experiencing it. In the next period, Robin did not spend entirely among books as he had done for the past months. All the books he brought afterward were to teach him the names of the resources in this world so that he could realize all his options and be able to search for or buy what he wanted easily. Most of the resources he needed were somehow common inside the capital market, and he spent tons of Jabba's money to buy them. As for the rare resources that are too expensive or have to be obtained in actions, he would just tell Amon their specifications and make the demon race search for them on his behalf, and then Amon would hand them over to him under the wing of the night outside the academy. After just 2 months of redesigning and gathering resources, Robin has already started drawing a tattoo on his own stomach. A few days later, Robin let out a long exhale, feeling the warm energy entering his muscles and penetrating into his marrow, giving him a special sense of relaxation. Although he couldn't control that energy and it hadn't changed anything in him yet, its mere presence made him feel that he had already become stronger. Haha! If my academy lecturers saw this, a mass suicide might occur. Jabba laughed out loud when he saw this. Robin drew himself a modified version of the first stage of the body-strengthening divine tattoo only 8 months after entering the academy. Normally, a master of divine tattoos would require nearly 20 years of study before he could get his first tattoo. Don't compare me to anyone, you idiot. Robin chuckled and went to stand in front of the mirror half-naked to see his new look. His emaciated body just got a little more good-looking after the divine tattoo was added. Robin smiled at the thought of this. We will see how long you will stay weak then, you damn body of mine. Master, what will be your next goal? Do you want to get out of the academy? Jabba asked. He knows Robin had already taken what he wanted. No need. The sect still needs time to be fit for any big operation. I only need to wait for them to be stronger before making any move. Plus, I still want to stay to study the second stage of the body-strengthening divine tattoo, and maybe the third stage. But I don't know if they will allow you to look at the third stage books. Robin looked at Jabba and spoke. Of course, I can get it for you. Everything inside the Lightning Tribe is possible for you as long as I'm here. Don't worry. When you are done with the second stage, just tell me. Hit Jabba on the chest. Good. There is one more thing. Robin put his hand on his chin. I want a way to make money. Money? I can give you whatever you want. Jabba knitted his eyebrows. But you obviously know this as you spent quite a few purple banknotes already. So what exactly do you mean? I'm not asking for my research this time, but for the sect. Robin shook my head. You already can't be thanked enough to have secured everything the Nahari Union sect needs. Orzon told me you bought them resources more than they asked for, and still doing so until now. But they must have much more than that if we want them to stand on an equal footing with the Giants' tribes or higher. They must have a well-equipped army, fortified cities with strong defenses, and good mounts. We should raise a lot of money. Like a lot. Nahari Union Sect is the name that the Administration Council of the sect has settled on, and Robin was later informed of it by a sound talisman. This, muttered Jabba. He is really rich, but he doesn't have enough to fund an entity like Robin is talking about. So what are you thinking? I don't know yet. If I was back home, I would have made something new and sold it at sky-high prices, and they would be happy to buy. But people in this world associate new innovations with the existence of a Heaven's Chosen, and the Heaven's Chosen is associated with misfortune and bad luck. I can't risk shining too brightly and letting people's imaginations run wild right now, or we will both be in danger. Your position as Deputy Chief of the Peacekeepers would mean nothing then. Robin was silent for a few seconds here and then sighed. Sigh, I'm going to the library. You know your people better than me. I want you to think of a solution to this dilemma in your spare time. Yes. In one of the wide avenues of the Central Divine Tattoo Academy. Step. All the giants around looked at the weird sight in the middle of the road. At first, they thought it was a tall pile of books walking by itself. But after a moment they saw the little feet moving under the books, and they knew who this was. Jabba's strange human assistant. Over the past months, Jabba has introduced Robin to them as his assistant and instructed the librarian and basically everyone to give him what he wants when he asks, so no one tried to block his way whenever he shows his face. Jabba also took Robin to several crowded lectures or gathering places for one reason, and that is for everyone to see Robin with him and deal with him with some respect. And this has already paid off as no one made big trouble for Robin in the past few months. At least they didn't treat him like an average human. Suddenly another sound came that caught everyone's attention. The pile of books Robin was carrying had all fallen. Robin looked on the ground for a moment, then looked in front of him, then up. He found 6 giants looking at him, laughing. Robin only looked at those giants for a moment, then looked back down towards the books and went down to collect them silently. This was not the first time something like this had happened. Every now and then he was subjected to such ridiculous harassment, but he was always silent and let it pass, This is still very good for his position as a human being. But when you were about to grab the first books, one of the giants stomped on his hand and spoke scornfully. Did you ask permission before you collected these books? It's Talon, son of Tinbrus, and all his entourage with him. Oh, this is perfect, one of the nearby academy students shouted. A large segment of the people started supporting his father, Tinbrus, to be the next chief of the tribe. Tinbrus gained even more fame and power on his side after the recent attack from the Water Tribe. It's been a while since we saw a good show at the academy, haha. Robin looked up and spoke with a smile. Can you remove your foot, sir? Oh, inferior beings can make demands too now? Ha ha ha. My absence for the past 2 years has made this academy weaken. Talon laughed loudly, and then looked at one of the passing giants. Why do I see this thing defiling the academy's books? Who gave him that right? He is Jabba's assistant, that giant replied. Oh? No wonder you are so rude and walk among us carrying our books as if you were one of us. Does Jabba think he is the chief of the tribe now? Talon looked back at Robin and pressed his foot more into his hands that it started making noises. Get your foot off my hand. I won't ask again. Robin muttered, still looking at his nearly crushed hands. Oh, this sounds exciting. Even the lowly servants of Jabba are threatening? Very good. So come on. Do something then. The giant tilted himself down and started pointing towards his cheek, mocking Robin. Asterisk, damn it. Asterisk, Robin shouted in his head. The strength of this giant is barely a mid-level shaman. The rest of the giants around him are also elementary or intermediate shamans. After breaking through to level 20 and learning the major heavenly law of gravity, Robin has a great chance of killing at least some of them, and then escaping by flying. But, ha ha ha. Why didn't you do anything? Come on, little human. Hit me. The giant laughed out loud as Robin remained motionless after threatening. Robin looked down and didn't say anything, just concentrating all his energy on keeping his fingers from getting completely broken. What, slave? Weren't you good at threatening now? You seem to hate stepping on your hand? How about I put your head under my feet instead then? You think your master would care if I killed you right now? You think that even if he cared he would dare do something? Humph. That would be a lesson for both of why.
Asterisk boom asterisk.
A punch landed on Talon's face, sending him flying until he crashed into a wall and broke through. Who dared? Who dared to lay his hand on me? Don't you know who I'm? Talon wiped the blood from his mouth and started screaming, ignoring the professor and the class he entered through their wall. Me! Asterisk step. Step. Asterisk. A voice suddenly came that caught everyone's attention. It was Jabba. Who gave you the right to bully my assistant thing? Jabba went after him through the hole in the wall and looked down at Talon. Jabba, you punched me for just a mere human? Take Talon a step back. And I will beat your father too if he did it. Jabba spoke, then reached out, grabbed his neck, and threw him out of the same hole, then looked toward the professor. Sorry for the inconvenience, you may continue. Giant Talon descended on the rest of his companions and they all fell down, then looked at Jabba, whom he saw coming towards him, and shouted, You will regret this. I swear you will regret it. We will see how long your father can protect you. When the time comes I will skin you alive. Let's go. Humph. Jabba looked at the departing giant sarcastically, and then moved toward Robin with hurried steps and sent him through the thoughts-conveying technique so that no one would hear them. Are you okay? I'm fine. Robin replied, shaking the dirt and blood off his hand. I'm sorry I'm late. I hurried here as soon as I received your message on the sound card. Jabba spoke worriedly. When Robin sensed something was going to happen, he passed his spiritual sense through his sound metal card on his body and sent Jabba to come quickly. Robin really wanted to kill the guy, but he come to his senses when he heard about how he is and who is his father. Of course, he heard about Tinbrus' name nearly every time he got out to bring some books. That guy was really close to the chief seat. He gave the people hope of restoring the lands their current weak leader has forsaken. Killing someone that important definitely wouldn't make his job easier. Even fighting back would do too much harm, even if he didn't kill anyone. So he thought of summoning Jabba and that he would talk to the guy to leave him alone or at least get him out in one piece. But he never expected Jabba to behave this tyrannically. Did he just say he would beat up Tinbris himself if he bullied his assistant? Jabba looked with a sore heart at his master trying to get his fingers back to their normal position, and sent an exasperated, "Why didn't you take out those bastards? I saw you fight, I know you have the ability to do it. Was it because of his father? You don't have to give a shit about anyone inside the Land of Lightning as long as I'm here." Robin looked at Jabba with sleepy eyes and sent, "Speak up now and scold me for dropping the books and then help me collect them with an angry attitude. We will talk when we are alone." "Eh? Oh, all right." Jabba didn't understand at first, but then he looked around and replied. 10 minutes later, inside Jabba's residence. "Damn it! Damn it!" Robin shouted after throwing the books he was carrying on the floor, then started kicking everything in front of him. Again and again. How much humiliation will he have to deal with in this filthy place? Jabba came in after him, quietly laid the books he was carrying on the floor, stood watching Robin from behind letting out his anger for about a minute, and then spoke. "You shouldn't have taken their crap. You should have fought back. What should I do then? Even with the permission you spoke about, if I used my usual combat method, I would have been exposed after the first 2 moves. It would have turned from a small bullying accident into an I found the third heavens chosen kind of situation. Would you have protected me from that also?" Robin shouted. "Oh!" Jabba finally understood what Robin was throwing at him. His usual fighting style is to use all the major laws he's learned at the same time, using them some to dodge, some to attack, and so on. But if someone saw the person that Jabba considers his assistant using all those attacking divine tattoos at once, it would be an extremely big problem because he violated the old agreement between the tribes, and if they tried to dodge the bullet by saying that he does not have any attacking divine tattoos at all, then it will become a bigger problem. Jabba scratched his head and asked, "Can't you just focus on the major law of lightning?" Someone with Robin's ability could definitely learn the major law of lightning even if he didn't know anything about it yet. If he used one, it would be a good cover and something that could also be explained since he Jabba's right hand. "I can reach the major law of lightning easily by looking at your training for a few more days, but what is the point? I use all the major heavenly laws I know at once to cover up their weakness. Didn't you know that already? When you build your pillars with a certain law, you can only use that law with full strength. For example, the major heavenly law of fire in my adopted son's hands can be used to take down shamans and burn down cities, but I can only use it to make campfire." Robin shook his head. Doesn't the Truth Master Law have something you can use in combat?" Jabba held an eyebrow. "You have already read everything about the truth. Do you see anything in it that could be used as a weapon?" Robin laughed and shook his head. "Actually, I found one, and it is pretty impressive if used the right way." Jabba said, "Ha!" Robin raised his head to look at Jabba with astonishment, waiting for him to finish. "I'm going to book a training hall today and show you what I meant. He looks like I'm going to be the teacher for today on." Jabba gave a chuckle. "Tisk, save your chuckles for after the explanation. If I found out that it won't help me, you will follow me everywhere to protect me starting today. WH-. What?" Jabba was shocked by Robin's words. No, that won't work. Even if my method doesn't work. I already told you. You can kill them in any way you want and don't care about the consequences. Haha, your strength and talent are impressive indeed, and it gives you respect in the Land of Lightning. But that wouldn't help me when my identity as the Heaven's Chosen ET exposed to the authorities. The day will come when I no longer fear the chief of this land and have it my way. But now I can't." Robin shook his head with a sarcastic laugh. "Well, you are not too far from that goal." Jabba raised his shoulder. Robin looked at him. "How is that?" "Your disciple is Jabba the son of Thandor." "The son of Thandor?" Jabba repeated and raised an eyebrow. And what?" "My father is the chief of the Lightning Tribe. Didn't you know?" Jabba looked at him, raising an eyebrow. "What?" Robin was shocked at what he heard. "You are the son of the clan chief, and now you are just telling me? I thought you already knew me when I took off the cloak and showed you my face that day, and later on I even told you my full name. I am Jabba, son of Thandor." Who doesn't know me? Damn your name. I knew that the chief is named Thander, but I thought it was a common name like John or Carl. Oh my God. I was literally plotting against the system in this land in front of the system itself. No wonder Orzon wanted to kill you so bad. Robin rubbed his chin and started walking back and forth. Jabba shrugged but said nothing. After about a minute, Robin stopped and seriously asked, "What is your relationship with your father exactly? Good? Bad? I haven't seen you visit him once since we met." "Not very good and not bad either. The matter is complicated. After the weak personality he showed against the Water Tribe, I decided to stay away from him and make my way myself. But if I come home now, he will be happy and welcome me. There are no big problems between us." "That is awesome." It cleared most of my fears. Robin roared back and forth in the room. "Damn it! I made more level 25 runes lately, and I have them on my body right now. I should have killed those 6 bastards using them. Also, I was telling you about the problems of collecting a fortune and how to do it without raising suspicion, but it turned out that you are the son of the chief of the tribe. Why didn't you tell me to just let my thoughts go free? Arg. I wasted too much time thinking about this matter. Now I have to rethink everything. You mute bastard. This is your problem because you did not know who Jabba the son of Thander was." Jabba spoke and went to sit down, but his features changed when he saw a sly smile on Robin's face. "Well, that's scary. I'm starting to regret telling you. Haha, this is simply perfect. Before coming to this world, I was hoping to somehow save the life of a princess of one of the tribes and make her introduce me to her father as her savior. But instead I unintentionally took a tribe prince as a disciple. Ha ha ha, oh my good luck finally starting to show itself." Robin laughed out loud. "Don't drag me to your childish dreams." Jabba yelled when he heard this. "Today we have a lot to plan. My dear useful disciple. We have a lot of money to make." Robin's enthusiasm quickly subsided after declaring his intent to start making money, and he walked back and forth around the room with a frown on his face, muttering, "What about? No, that wouldn't do. Then, nah. Would you sit down for a while and at least share with me what you were trying to think of? I told you you don't need to worry about anything as long as you have my support. Just pick something and do it." Jabba couldn't stay silent any longer. Exclaimed, "It is not that simple. You can really protect me inside the land of the Lightning Tribe, but what about beyond that? I can't make a new tattoo. It would definitely mean that its maker is a Heaven's Chosen, and this could turn the world upside down. And I can't upgrade one of the existing tattoos as well because that will most likely lead to the same result or at least too much of an unwanted spotlight. Damn. I have protection like that now, but I can't use it." Jabba furrowed an eyebrow and fell silent too. After a few minutes at last he spoke. "What about divine weapons?" "What about it?" Robin stopped and looked at Jabba. "It's just a regular armament with special runes on it that harden it or give it a special attribute. What is the difference between this and—" "Wait a moment." At this point Robin found himself a chair and sat down, eyebrows furrowed, his facial features gradually transforming into a big smile and shouting, "This is it! Glad I helped," Jabba said proudly before placing one leg over the other. "The method for making divine weapons runes is missing, but it did exist before. If you say you discovered a method for making the divine weapons in one of the ancient ruins, this would seem reasonable. But can your tribe provide protection and secure us from the rest when this story spreads to the rest of the tribes? They would surely try to get a piece of that method." Robin spoke without taking a breath. I highly doubt my father has enough strength to protect us if the rest of the neighboring tribes attacked us." Jabba rubbed his forehead and then raised his head and spoke to Robin. "But I think he could if he had a few more divine weapons." "You mean? Let's first sell your products to the army of the Lightning Tribe. When my father's pockets are emptied and he has the necessary power to deter the rest of the tribes, then we can announce the matter and sell to everyone we want. What do you think of that?" Robin tapped on the armrest of his chair for a moment. "Strengthening a tribe that might be a hindrance to the Nahari Union sect doesn't look very good. Leave this point to me." Jabba put his hand on his chest and declared, "If you give us this weapon, then I promise you that the Lightning Tribe, if it is not a loyal friend of the Nahari Union sect, surely will not be an enemy." Robin looked at Jabba and did not stop tapping his fingers on the chair for several minutes. then finally spoke. All right, buy or borrow all the divine weapons that you can access and send them to the largest training hall here in the academy for me to study them, decoding its code, and extracting the runes drawn on it. And bring a lot of high-categorized ordinary weapons too and send them to the training hall. We will spend most of our time there from now on. People will think that you need those weapons because you are destroying them in your training, and when you complete a batch of divine weapons you can take them out of the training hall covered like broken weapons. In addition, providing the ink resources that we will need will not be a problem because this academy is based on this profession mainly. That place will be an ideal cover for our future operations. And I will be able to train you on how to use the path of truth in combat as well. Ahaha. Jabba laughed loudly. When he saw Robin not laughing with him, he stopped. Ahem. I will go get you a few divine weapons. 2 months later, Robin managed to decipher the runes of the 7 divine weapons that Jabba had brought. As he predicted, they were all runes inspired by heavenly laws as well with seals to automatically attract energy from the atmosphere to activate them, and a certain revolutionary seal to make the laws work on inanimate objects without destroying them. The simplest 2 of them were 2 armors. The runes on them are from the path of metal, giving the shields a great hardness that greatly overshadows any high-level armor. The wearer of these armors is automatically protected from any stab as a cut or force attacks, or technically any injury that affects any place protected by the armor as long as the attacker is a mid-level shaman or less, and it will reduce the damage coming from anyone with a higher level. Another one was higher-level armor. In addition to the minor laws of the metal, in it was added a law to absorb energy shocks, which gives additional protection to the user, and it has something of the gravity path also to be lighter in weight and to make it easier for the wearer to move. Below that, there were 3 assorted divine weapons, all of them with tattoos to increase the sharpness, speed, and hardness of the blade so that it wouldn't break easily. Any piece of these weapons could be sold to a sage of the Robin realm for at least 50,000 gold coins. But all these pieces are in one hand and the 7th piece of divine armament is in another. It is a broad bracelet, something that can be considered a small wrist shield, but the runes on it were remarkably distinctive. The bracelet is designed to shoot a cannon of fire towards a target with just a thought. Because the bracelet is always attached to the hand, it is in constant contact with the soul, and this is the way to give it orders through a certain seal. As for the engraving itself, it is very similar to a talisman that can be used repeatedly without problems, and it is similar to giants with an offensive tattoo that they can use without pain, and most importantly, it enables the giants to use offensive divine tattoos they don't have it. For example, if the lightning tribe has a bracelet that can launch fire attacks, it does not violate the ancient laws, but the bracelet will be an excellent weapon against the wood tribes. Jabba told him that this bracelet and similar divine weapons that use the heavenly laws of the attack or defend were something that only the senior officers in the kingdom used. Most of them were destroyed in the Great War, intentionally or unintentionally. Currently their numbers are very few and every piece of them is priceless. But this particular piece of bracelet, if sold at an auction, might fetch 2 or 3 gold banknotes and maybe more. That is 200 to 300 energy pearls minimum. Robin was amazed by this large number. A multi-use talisman that he could sell to such a large number here? I'm going to be rich.